Super blue morning to everyone. I hope you all are doing well. I really do hope so. Today we're going to talk about the home Champions League game between Chelsea Football Club and Real Madrid FC at Stamford Bridge, and we will also take some time to address questions and concerns regarding Chelsea's sell status at this point. And if you're in the chat, please do let me know if you can hear me. So, without further ado, let's get into the show. Yes, people, welcome back to Chelsea Perspective. I hope you're all doing well, and I really do mean that. And I hope you also have a cup of coffee by your side. As for me, it is 3 a.m. here, just about, let's say, 2 minutes past 3 a.m. So I need a cup of coffee to be fully awake. And it's a good one, I must let you know. And before we continue, I'd like to look in the chat to see what we have there. We have Price, and then this is me saying hello to Price there earlier in the day. And we also have to my brother from South Africa, Tobago, saying hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Thank you so much for kindly saying that, my brother. And big up, guys. Yes, big up to everyone. And here's one of the queens of the house, TC. How are you doing? I hope you're doing well. And she says, hit the like button. Yes, as you guys know, I've talked about it before. We will first talk about the Champions League game between Chelsea Football Club and Real Madrid, the home game. It is a big game for us. And I think we must talk about that. And after that, we'll go straight into talking about that is the status of the sale. It's been a conundrum so far. We have trust issues for obvious reasons. Then we'll start taking questions regarding that, addressing questions and taking questions regarding the sales status of the club. But we have to start with the Real Madrid game. If you look at it, the surprising thing you could say is that Real Madrid and Chelsea, their form of late, you could say, is pretty much the same. The only obvious reason there is that Chelsea lost to Brentford at home, but we were able to score a goal. And Real Madrid here lost to Barcelona at home, but they couldn't score a goal. But other games, as you can see, their form of late, they've been winning, like conceding goals, but they've been winning. They've been winning games too. If you look at it, it's almost the same thing with Chelsea. Here we conceded one, but the other two we did not concede. But I think Madrid have conceded more. More goals and more games than we've done. So that's what the difference is at this point. But in terms of injuries, Madrid they don't have too many injuries. It's just I know they have 4 players out. They have Miguel Gutierrez out. He's out muscle injury and out for the rest of the season. Luka Jovic ankle injury late April. Isco back injury a few weeks, and Eden Hazard, you can say about this point that he is Mr. Injury himself. Hazard will be out for the rest of the season. Wow, that's crazy. I think he should look for somewhere else to play football. And for Chelsea, the only 2 players we have out is just Callum Hudson-Odoi, who has a back injury, and he will not be back until mid-April. We also have Ben Chilwell, who has a crucial ligament that we thought was minor. It turns out he will be out for the rest of the season. So both teams in terms of form, pretty similar. And I'm trying to find a head-to-head. I think we haven't played against Chelsea haven't played against, head-to-head here. We haven't played against them that much. We've played a total of four times. They've won 2. We win 1. I don't think this is correct. Okay, yeah, they've won 2, we won 1, and we drew 1. That it is correct indeed. So we're pretty much the same in terms of form and in terms. I think style of play. Real Madrid this time under Carlo Ancelotti, even though they've been conceding goals, you can say they are more defensively sound than they were under Zinedine Zidane. And Chelsea, we don't concede too many goals, but it just seems as whenever we concede quite a lot. So if you're in the chat, let me know what type of formation you think Thomas Tuchel would deploy. That is, if you're already not thinking, okay, what you're seeing in this on the screen will be correct, but I can assure you, you cannot predict Thomas Tuchel's. You cannot predict Thomas Tuchel's lineup just like that. He thinks things a lot, and it's pretty difficult to almost always correctly predict his lineup. So I'm going to go through the chat. This is Fraser here. I hope you're doing. How are you doing, brother? I hope you're good. He said, Ricketts family won't pass director owners test. Check what Matt Law said. They be face off. Yeah, I think we'll talk about that when we get to start talking about the sales status, and then we'll talk about that in full. And I appreciate you bringing that up. And this is Tobago saying hello to Fraser. In his last post, I will find it and make it available so that we can talk about it later. This is also Fraser saying, he says, Matt Law said they will be faced off. Is that what you wanted to say? So they won't pass it directly. Yeah, there's a chance they won't pass it. But I don't think, if anything, if they're not going to pass it, it will not be because of the racial comments they've made, the Islamophobic comment they've made. I don't think it will be because it wasn't them. It was their fathers. They could argue. So I think if that's the case, there must be all the strong, other stuff that we don't know that Matt Law knows. That's a possibility. So right now, and quickly, I'm going to share the link in the chat so that whoever wants to join the conversation can do so. It is democracy here, and you're welcome to join. And if you're in the chat at this morning, blue morning to you again, please do let me know where you're participating from. That means a lot to me. Into the panel. And I'm going to pin it so it will be at the top. In case you want to join, feel free to join us. And here's the thing. Yes, I've said about today that Real Madrid are better defensively under Carlo Ancelotti. I think so. If I'm wrong, please do let me know. But the truth is also, I think they're even more difficult to beat under Carlo Ancelotti. They are more organized. In the midfield, they start defending from the opponent's area, and which you could argue that's not really the case on the Zinedine Zidane. They're a different animal right now, and in the Champions League they've done quite well. Imagine the game against, if you can recall how the game against PSG went down. They were goes down, and we were thinking, okay, PSG, we're going to knock them out. And in the end, it was a late comeback, actually, a brilliant comeback. If you ask me, let me see if I will see that game, Paris Saint-Germain. I think it's probably this one here. I think they beat them 3-1. And so that was a surprise, a big surprise to many people. The comeback was brilliant. They did surprise everyone. So in the Champions League, they are a different animal. And Carlo Ancelotti has been in the game for quite some time. And he's a master tactician, if you ask me. I don't know why he left Madrid the first time, why they fired him, or why Chelsea let him go, when we did let him go. Had he stayed at Chelsea then, I'd say we would have dominated the Premier League for a long while and not just have just patches of success. But that's, by the way, my point now is that under Carlo Ancelotti, Real Madrid are a different animal. You can't, they're not a team, they're not easy to beat. They defend as a unit, and they defend from the front. That is from the opponent's area to their defensive area. And Vinicius Junior, I mean, he's been on fire of late. He's been firing on all cylinders for Real Madrid. Has been creating goals. Has been scoring goals. I mean, he's in form even when Eden Hazard was still fit. He couldn't get into the team. And if you ask me, I'd say it was all down to the form of Vinicius Junior. So let me go through the chat again. And again, the link to the panel is in the chat in case you have time and would want to join the panel. And when was this post? Because, okay, yeah, and Tobago, if you can find it, can you just send me the posting questions so that'll be easy for me to open it will be easy for me to open via Twitter and then share it with you guys. Okay, they're still having a conversation regarding the sale of the club. Tobago says, hit the like button, people, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And this is phrase, or they can pass it by paying them up. Okay, let me see. Tobago here says Carlo Ancelotti might not be tomorrow because of COVID. Yeah, I heard that. I heard he caught COVID, but I'm surprised he's not listed here. He's not listed on the injury. If it's not going to be available, I think he should be where he should be listed here, even though he's not a player. He's here. He's here, so nothing says anything about the COVID. So he probably must have recovered because people, as long as you're, I think, you're vaccinated, I think you're likely to recover from it as quickly as possible. And I think he may have recovered from that. And also another thing I want to talk about is the fact that we're hearing that in the Madrid camp, they're confident that they were easier to beat than the Madrid team camp. They think the Chelsea are easier to beat than Liverpool and Manchester City. Those two teams, they consider them as a more difficult team to beat. To me, if you ask me, I'd say I think that arrogance that they're known for, that it is creeping in right now. I think they feel confident they're gonna beat us. And I think that's one of the issues they had last season because they didn't give us a chance. Even Toni Kroos started talking some nonsense. They were confident. I think one of them had the Champions League trophy tattooed on his leg. And so we ended up stunning them. We surprised them. Our performance in the two legs were brilliant. We played more like we were going to win it, and they played more like they're better than us. That the game has been won already, given that it was Chelsea Football Club, and given that we weren't really doing well then. So, if you are in the chat, let me know what type of game you expect. I don't think this will be a case of Charity FC. We know what that is. This is not a game you can say our team think we're gonna win. No, it's a game that we know we must win. Just like when we lost at home, I think it was 5-1 to what's the team again? Sam Allardyce's team. I forgot what they called. So after this loss against this last loss against Brentford in our last game, I think this is a must-win game, and I think the players themselves know that. And given what we're going through, they understand the importance of this game. A win against Real Madrid will do us all a world of good. So they must do whatever they can, to win the game, and so that we move to the next knockout stage, to the next round. So yeah, if you're in the channel, let me know what type of game you think it will be. I don't think, again, it will be a case of a Charity FC. No, we've lost the game. So a reaction is needed, and I think the players will deliver. They've improved a lot. Yeah, they've improved quite a lot under Carlo Ancelotti. Like I said, defensively, they defend as a unit. They do a lot of running, and they press very well, which is, and if need be, they can slow the game down a bit to control the game. Teams that Carlo Ancelotti coach do that quite a lot. So again, if you're in the chat, the link to the panel is in the chat, and it's pinned. You can join us. Tobago, where's your... yeah, from Melissa. Okay, yeah, that's a conversation between... don't play Alonso tomorrow. He'll be killed. Yes, most likely, I don't think he will start. I don't think Tuchel will risk it. It will be too much of a risk to start him. This is just a probable lineup put out by the app that I use. By the way, the app is called FOTMob. It is a very, very good app. You can get it on Android phones. You can get it on Apple phones and Apple products, and also Huawei products. So that probable lineup has Alonso starting. I don't think so, because if it does, Vinicius Junior or whoever, even Valverde will make some sandwich with him. So I think this is just this guy's thinking that he's going to start. As for me, I don't think Alonso will start that game. Let me see if there's any other relevant comment regarding the game. No, first you're wrong. Vini plays right side, but he can switch positions. The thing, even though wherever Vini is, if he sees a better opportunity switching positions, if he sees a weak player, if he's been dealt with where he is, players do switch positions to have a better chance of doing well in the game if need be. So the position where they find themselves doesn't matter. The most important thing is that he's in the wings, so he can easily switch on the other side, and Valverde will come to this side. And this is Fraser say that they can switch. Exactly, that's the point I was making. And morning Blues, morning PJ Artist, how are you doing? Blue morning to you. And where did you get the Chelsea versus Real Madrid head-to-head? As in competitive games that count, I see Chelsea win at 3. Madrid win 2. That's a possibility. I was looking at this head-to-head here. It says 1 draw, Madrid 2 wins, and Chelsea 1. That could be wrong. That doesn't mean they're correct. That's what I see on the app. And at first I thought about it too. I said it wasn't correct. No, correct me if I'm wrong. What is the correct number there? And that is Pierre Kakari telling me that it's not wrong. So yeah. It's not correct, so I'm not sure the number, I have to be honest. And this is Tobago saying, okay, let me see if it's anything. Play Aspie on the left, James on the right. I wouldn't do that. If I'd rather play Aspie on the right where he's more comfortable. Yeah, although you could argue he's played on the left-hand side also, and he's also executed the left. He's done well on the left-hand side, but not what we are playing him as a wing back. I don't think he will do well on the left-hand side. He'd struggle, especially going forward. I think Malang Sarr, actually, I think he will hold his own. The only difference is that we will lack attacking-wise if Malang Sarr starts on the left-hand as the left wing back man for us. So, but I don't think it will make sense for Aspie to start on the left. And also, if I don't think this lineup will, because I think Kovacic will start. Again, remember, this is a probable lineup put out by the FOTMob team. I don't think Alonso will start. I don't think Jorginho will start because the Real Madrid midfield will smoke him. Casemiro is very, very aggressive. And you could say maybe not Modric, but Kroos is very, very aggressive and more physical than Jorginho. So if this Chelsea starts with this 11, I think we will struggle in the midfield area because Casemiro will smoke Jorginho indeed. But we will still be defensively sound because of N'Golo Kante's presence. But Jorginho will be ineffective given that Casemiro is quicker, more physical, and Kroos isn't quicker, but he's more physical. But and Jorginho will be slow enough to deal with Kroos and Modric. Both of them are very, the quick thinking and can orchestrate some decisive and great passes if you give them the slightest of chances. And we don't want that to happen. I don't know why they have Chalobah here. I don't think so. As long as Thiago Silva, the only people I see injured here are Callum Hudson-Odoi and Ben Chilwell. So if Thiago Silva is fit, I think he starts in the middle. While if Andres Christensen is fit, I think he starts. Let me know if there's something I do not know about the fitness of our players, because I'm not seeing everything there. And Tobago says if Madrid play Modric, Kroos, and Casemiro, OMG, we are winning. Those guys are old. They don't have enough energy. And it depends on who you play in response to that. If you play Jorginho, they can still smoke him. It's not that quick in breaking up a play. By the time he'd point to somebody else to go do the job for him, I think Toni Kroos will find Benzema with a wonderful pass, or even Modric would do so. Tobago understanding about age, but you've seen a Modric PSG, exactly. And hit the like button. Yeah, please do that. Against West Brom, yeah, thank you. Yeah, he's helping me recall what I couldn't recall then. And big up to my brother, Steve Chelsea. So yeah, we Madrid lost 4 goals before meeting. Yeah, but that's to me, I think it's a wake up call just right before the game against Madrid. I think we had similar issue last season during our run up to the Champions League final. I think the game, for instance, the game we lost against the Premier FA Cup final against Leicester City was a wake up call just in time. And again, you could argue that game against West Brom, Thomas Tuchel had one eye on the game against Real Madrid. I think he had to rotate the team. And that's why I argue since Kovacic didn't start, he most definitely will start this game. And I think they're correct in terms of starting Havertz. I don't see Lukaku starting. And yes, I can see Christian Pulisic coming back into the team. And Ziyech, who you could argue was one of our best players, if there's any, in the game against West Brom. Again, if you're in the chat, the link to the panel is there and it's pinned. Join us if you have time. If not, no problem. I understand. I can run solo, and it will still be fun for us. Let me see here if we have anything else to look at here. After how we lost on Saturday, I don't see us playing 4 at the backs anytime soon. Again, it depends. That the system wasn't the issue. You could argue there were a lot of factors that contributed to that poor performance, and that day, one of which being the game was played right after the international break. Our players, most of our players, traveled long distances to participate in international assignments for their respective countries. That on its own is a huge factor that you must take into account. And also the Chelsea cell conundrum, if you prefer, it gets to them. They hear about what's going on, and that plays into their mind too. And yeah, again, those 2 factors are huge. Both could have led to the players performing poorly. And if you look at them, that they did look downcast. They didn't look. It didn't look like the Chelsea we know. Excuse me. I have to take a sip of my coffee before I lose my voice. Yeah, go back to the basics. Basic back 3. That's most definitely what I think will happen. Since Reece James, he's trained a few days now, and he came on during the game against Brentford, and he had and I wasn't going to say he had a good game, and then I think that's good to prepare him for this game. At least some match fitness to a certain measure will go a long way. Alonso will be smoked. Yeah, he will be used to make a sandwich if he starts. No matter who plays at the back 3 has to I don't think it will be a good thing to start Alonso. And Real Madrid, in terms of they let you keep the ball, but the counter-attack is frightening. That is, they counter-attack with blistering speed, and before you know what's happening, they are one-on-one with your goalkeeper, and they hardly miss chances these days given the form that they are in. And this is Steve Chelsea saying, and we also beat them with Jorginho last season. We don't trust Tuchel to line up. He might surprise us. Again, yeah, if you make a good point. The fact we beat them last season with Jorginho on the pitch. Did he actually play that game? I don't recall. But even if he played, they played differently under Carlo Ancelotti. They are more physical under Carlo Ancelotti. Under Zidane, they played with more flair than they do under Carlo Ancelotti. I think that's one of the major differences you can see in the two teams right now. They won't give you that much of a space you got when you play against them under the reign of Zenit Incident. So that's a huge difference right there. We should go to 3 at the back. I don't want us to lose like we did on Saturday. Again, I don't want to go into that again. The loss against Brentford on Saturday wasn't down to the system. There are a whole lot of other factors you could argue was the reason we lost that game. And this is Steve Chelsea. Normal loss 23. Let's see. Okay, let me see. Timo shouldn't be anywhere near the bench. That's a possibility that will happen. And it looks like the guy himself, but not to misquote him, I think the better option for him would be to go elsewhere, possibly a German club. I think he'd do better there. It doesn't look like things will get better for him. Here we have, in fact, he should be asked to take a day off. That will help his confidence. I would never do that. Let alone I think you make a good argument there because he's been abysmal of late, but I don't think you should ask him to take a break. It will not help his confidence. His issue, I think his biggest issue has been his confidence of late. It will not help to do such to him. The best thing to do is to keep giving him chances wherever we can, but not to the detriment of the team's performance. I think give him chances like in League Cup games. And then when he starts firing on all cylinders again, you can put him on, have him play important games. And I'm not sure how to start solving Timo Werner's problem. I think it's gotten worse of late. So with that, I think if you have anything else, any question you want to ask regarding the Real Madrid game, do put it in the chat and I will try to address it. And this is... Steve Chelsea, is Thiago Silva fit? I think Thiago Silva is fit. I don't know if you're there and you think he's not. Please do let me know. We have only 2 players here who are not fit. And then Thiago Silva finished the game against Brentford, and he does well for us in the Champions League, which is less of a physical game than the Premier League. So I think he'd play as long as he's fit. But I'm not sure why these guys don't have him on the probable lineup. And what day is the presser again? I didn't watch it. I'm not sure when the press conference will be to be sure what player is ready to play or not. I think that's it about pretty much about it, about the talk about the Chelsea versus Real Madrid game. Again, I think we will do well this time. The loss to Brentford was a wake-up just in time before the Real Madrid came. We need a reaction from the players, and I think they will react positively. I don't think the loss against Brentford was, solemnly down to the players' lack of quality, or it was just because it happened right after the international break. And if you're following the team, you know what that does to our performance. Plus the Chelsea conundrum. So now I think we can go ahead and talk about if you have any question regarding the Chelsea sale or regarding any of the groups, you go ahead and put it in the chat. And if anybody there or Tobago, anybody wants to join me, I'd appreciate that so that we can talk about it. The link to the panel is in the chat, and I hope you guys can find time to join. If not, I will go solo, and believe me, it will still be fun. I see Madrid are coming for revenge. Not going to be easy game as we think. So, yeah, it's not going to be an easy game. They would always, a team as big as Real Madrid would always want to come and beat you. They'd like to beat us home and away. But one thing I heard about the rumors that they're pretty confident that they are going to beat us, that they that Manchester City and Manchester City and Liverpool are much tougher opponents to play against than Chelsea Football Club. So that to me is an issue. It's important to respect every opponent, no matter how weak or strong you think they are. But it's surprisingly, from what we're hearing, they don't fear us. They feel like that Manchester City and Liverpool are a much stronger team to you know, play against the Chelsea Football Club. I really do like that. So we need a reaction from our players. They know it's a tough game, and that's the mentality I want us to go into the game with, and not go into the game like, okay, we beat them twice last season. We beat them last season, so to speak, so we can still beat them again. So you let me know what you think, and if you have any question, please do put it in. Pulisic brace today. Tomorrow, maybe I think he's saying tomorrow against Brentford. No creativity. Pulisic must start tomorrow. Let me ask the question. The fact is, Pulisic does well. He runs. He's one of the good runners we have in the team, and he makes the most of the slightest of spaces he finds, just like Kai Havertz does. I wouldn't say he's the one that his absence was the reason we lacked creativity. We actually had creativity on. We had if you followed the game attentively, Hakim Ziyech created quite a few chances, and it's not like that we performed that poor. I think it was just a matter of us not scoring putting away the chances we had, because Kai Havertz, if you ask me, could have, or you say should have, could have scored 3 goals at least in that game. He had some clear-cut chances that you say he put away on a good day, but I think it wasn't his day on that day. So it wasn't. We didn't lack creativity. Or if you followed that game, Ziyech was actually, he did quite well. If we had won that game, I think Ziyech did well enough to win man of the match. He created quite a few chances for us, and but it just unfortunately our players did not put the chances away. Silva shouldn't have started last league match. He should have been arrested for that game, but for a reason he had to start. A reason I don't know. Maybe because we haven't seen anybody that let me know what's going on with Andreas Christensen. We haven't. I haven't heard anything about him. It's not like he's injured, and why? I'm not sure what's happening. So Silva started for a reason. I didn't think if we had any other option that could have started, and Silva being on the bench, being rested for the Madrid game, I think Thomas Tuchel would have done so. But for a reason, he had to start. I think he was forced to start him, not because he had to start, because he traveled. Tobago says, I have a question. Do you think the other beaters that won Chelsea Football Club, they already give up, or because the Ricketts family are being favored? Again, saying the Ricketts family are being favored, we must say at this point it's a theory. That's what we're thinking, given the behavior of Bruce Buck, the Chelsea chairman. I think you have every reason to think they're being favored, but I don't really think that's the case, because this is something that's being done in the eye of the public. So if that is the case, if any form of shady business it's sensed and it turns out it is true, it will be seriously damaging for Rent Group, and it's something. And again, I think I've said this before on the show. In the United States, if you're an entity, a business entity that has a base in the United States, in your operations overseas, if during your operations overseas you engage in any form of bribery, any form of shady stuff, when you come back home, you can still be charged for those criminal offenses, if I'm allowed to put it that way. So I wouldn't say no, they've given up. If they've given up, you hear from them. And I think the fact is we're hearing more about the Ricketts, because they're the ones, I think you could argue right now, that has the biggest issue, because they're the ones that the fans are pushing back against. The campaign, the No to the Ricketts campaign. You've heard about the history, which has led to the protest at the bridge. This last game we played at the bridge. You've heard everything that we've talked about here before, and I don't want to go into that right now. So I think they have issues. So they have to be countering. They have to, find a measure, to see if they can also push back their own way, to highlight positivity, if you want to put it that way, instead of all the talk about them being racism, Islamophobia, how they treat their employees, whatever they've done in the past or recent or whatever. Their brother, who's a governor or a politician, let me just say that to be on the safer side, have said before. So that they have to be that vocal. They have to put out, they have to have a strong PR representation, so to deal with those issues, because if they don't do that, it will get even worse. So they're pushing back the way they can. And again, I wouldn't say because they've been favored, because we cannot prove that. But we have every right to be concerned, given the behavior of what Bobby Smoky Signal described as that uncle that will always disgrace you. When the family gathers or relations gather, he puts up one stupid behavior to disgrace every member of the family. Staff says it's Silva, and yes, should have been arrested. Yes, correct. He should have been arrested. So, but for some reason, I think Thomas Tuchel was forced to start Thiago Silva. Also, please, if you're watching and you haven't, please do smash that like button so that YouTube will push it the stream to more people, so that they can come join us, and it will be even more fun the more people we have here. And we already have 21 likes. I know we can do better. If you haven't, please ensure to smash that like button and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't. But more importantly, it's important that you click on the bell notification button so you don't miss anything, so you get notification whenever we go live. Yes, Silva should be rested. I agree. Normal loss 27. Silva has more arrests at 3 days recovered. Home game also. I don't think so, given his age. I think he should have been arrested, because I'd prefer playing him in the Champions League, as I've explained before. The Champions League is a less physical game than the Premier League. I think he should have been arrested. But again, I'm sounding like a broken record now. For some reason, Thomas Tuchel, decided to start him. I think a reason we do not know. He must have been forced to do so for some reason that we do not know. Wednesday Staff. Yeah, Staff likes to keep it straight. So the moment he saw that, he had to correct you on a very funny way. So that's good to see. Steve Chelsea, yeah, I reckon Pulisic should start against Real Madrid. Yes, Christian Pulisic should start. And one thing you always get from Pulisic whenever he's on the pitch is that he makes decisive runs behind opposition defenders. And if you can find him on his day, you can say 7 times out of 10 times he puts away chances. He has issues, but his strongest point on the pitch is his runs. He makes decisive runs, and 8 times his runs are very well. And plus, the way he plays, you hardly see him offside. And if you get the ball to him, again, 7 times out of 10, he will score goals. And yeah, thumbs up. Thank you for that correction, Staff. Just a perspective, if you watch the game against Brentford, Kai Havertz nowhere to be found. For Staff, only has more scoring chances when Lukaku came on. What do you think of starting him with Kai? I think, again, I don't know. I start with say I hate repeating myself, but I think I'll do so. Again, there are a couple of factors that you must consider in that game against Brentford. One, the game took place just immediately after the international break. That doesn't help us. We were on a good run before that time. And even before the international break, people knew that it wasn't going to be pretty when our players come back from international assignments. And as you can see, even though, they trained, I think, a day or two before the game, they looked tired. And plus, they looked, what was the word I used? They looked downcast. Given that, you could attribute that to the situation we have. And again, plus the fans at the stadium were not at their best on that day, probably because of the protest, I wouldn't say so. I wouldn't say it was down to Kai's fault. And every player, every single Chelsea player on that day, none of them collectively was a poor performance. Let me just put it that way. And again, Kai could have scored a few goals had it been on his day. So yeah, I wouldn't. I think I'd start him over Lukaku for obvious reason. He's been in fine form of late and will look more fluid whenever he's on the pitch. And so I'm sorry to say that, and I don't mean to offend anybody, but whenever Lukaku is on the pitch, we seem to lose our fluidity, and that is not helpful. So Tuchel, he's recognized that, and I hope things change for Lukaku, because there are games I'd prefer him to start over Kai Havertz, or there are games I'd rather see him paired with Kai Havertz also. But what I don't want to see is the pairing of Romelu Lukaku and Timo Werner, both of which are so poor in terms of their first touch and ball control. And with them on the pitch together, I think you can forget about fluidity and our ability to, keep the ball, control it properly, and then find opponents. But that's, by the way, this is reference into Steve. But what does it say here? We should play 4-2-2-2, Kai with Lukaku on top. I think here's what I want to say here. Again, no matter how you see it, we have one, and that is in terms of chance creation, in terms of his ability of scoring from outside the box. Of late, you can say one player stands out and one player comes to mind. The player in question is Hakim Ziyech. So no matter the structure we play, no matter the structure of our formation, or no matter the structure we deploy, I think we must accommodate Hakim Ziyech where he will be at his best, which is usually on the right-hand side and on the wing. He needs that space to operate. There he can whip in those pacey that is behind the opposition defense passes, and sometimes even on the carpet, even on the air, his passes he adds so much pace to it before the opposition defenders know what's going on. The ball gets to the intended target. So whatever we do, whatever the structure decides to deploy, we must play Hakim Ziyech where he's comfortable and get him involved in the play more. Because in terms of creativity, in terms of creating chances, I think you could argue, correct me if I'm wrong, he's been our best player of late. He's created more chances than any other Chelsea players, but he's not been lucky because the chances he's been creating has not been put away. So that's just where I'm concerned. I don't care the structure of the formation, but no matter how Tuchel wants to do it, he should be sure to accommodate Hakim Ziyech where he will be comfortable, and then wave his wand and create more chances for us. But I'm not a coach who will support Tuchel on every decision he makes. But sometimes you could argue he's been so stubborn that it's not funny. For instance, when we, in the absence of our wingers, and the three at the back position is a formation or a structure that is heavily reliant on wing play. So when we don't have Ben Chilwell and Reece James, he should have played a four at the back formation, which when he tried it, it was effective. And we played like a different team altogether where that happened. And we'd have more attacking players, in the team than defenders. So I think, he's been stubborn sometimes, unnecessarily stubborn, and to the detriment of the team, if you ask me. But I still love him, though. He's one of my best Chelsea coaches so far. I loved Mourinho, but I think for some reason, I think Thomas Tuchel has taken the top position in my list of past and present Chelsea coaches. Tuchel said he left out Chalobah for tactical reasons and Christensen on the bench. So I'm suspecting Christensen starts this one, except given the fact maybe his transfer process to Barcelona is starting to affect his performance, which I don't think it was the case the last time he played for us. And it doesn't look like his transfer to Barcelona has affected his displays for Chelsea. He's been good of late for us. So I hope he starts. because this formation right here, no, I'm not really comfortable with this. I think, yeah, Rudiger will be fine, but with Chalobah in the middle, it's a no-no for me. Again, I must highlight the fact that this guy's called that probable lineup. I don't think that will be the case. Yeah, so let's continue. I'll continue to take the inputs in the chat. This was meant to be an interactive show, but if you have any question, go ahead, shoot. I'll try my best to answer the question. And also, if you want to join the panel, I have the link to the panel in the chat in case if you're interested. If not, I'll run solo and it will still be fun for us. Yes, because defenders focus on Lukaku. Yeah. And once you're on him, he's basically done. So I prefer players who are able to play, drop back, support the play, and when the ball comes to them, they'd be able to control it. And in Lukaku's case, I don't want to talk about it, so it doesn't look like I'm here slandering him, as Stav would put it. I don't think he will be good, and I don't like to do that. Yes, people smash that like button, and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't. That would do us a lot of good. And the more you like the video, it will trigger the Google algorithm and get it to push the stream onto more people to join us. And more likes, please. Yes, more likes, please. And now it's towards the end of the season. Lukaku should be given a chance. He's not playing him. It's not good. Here's the thing. Lukaku, you can argue, has not been in great form of late. He's had issues. And also the interview didn't help. But that's by the way. And it looked like his confidence-wise, I think it's not there yet. But I think he'll still be huge for us. But something needs to give way. What that is, I don't know. Maybe the system, maybe the players he plays with up front. I'm not sure what needs to change to get the best out of Lukaku this time. But simply, he doesn't suit Tuchel's style of play. And that highlights the fact, and some argument by some people who argued that Lukaku is an Thomas Tuchel's type of a number 9, if you ask me. He's played with number 9 before, but not Lukaku's type, not Lukaku's type of number 9. If you go back and look at his team as Mainz, look at Borussia Dortmund, look at PSG. Even at PSG, he had Mauro Icardi, but he doesn't use him that much. He prefers a more fluid attack where any of the front 3 or 2 could score. And even no matter the structure, even in cases where he has 2 guys behind the number 9 man, his teams is usually so fluid that either of the 3 players, even wingers, can come in and wing backs can come in and score goals. So, but that's by the way. I think he will find a way to make it work. Because it's to sell Lukaku, I think it will be even Marina. It will be one of the most difficult things she's done in her life, given Lukaku's age and given how much we paid for him. And Chelsea isn't a club that sells players for the sake of it without making a profit. And I don't see any club at this point, given Lukaku's own form, that will pay anything close to even 70 million pounds. I think it's going to be really difficult. And also, Lukaku himself, his form hasn't helped. You have to be in brilliant form for clubs to even think about paying that much money to buy you. He says, yes, coach, true. I don't want a Lukaku with Werner. Yeah, that's a horrible combo if that happens. It takes them like 5 minutes to get the ball under control, unfortunately. Again, I have the link to the panel. If you're in the chat and you want to join us, please do so. Yeah, I think if Chilwell and James are back to fit, Lukaku will start scoring again. And again, here's what this comment right here brings to mind what I haven't liked about our team, the Chelsea Football Club team. We have our backups and we have starters, and that is a huge contrast between you could say the Man City team squad, the Man City squad, and also the Liverpool squad. At Man City, they have all starters. a player A isn't playing, player B comes in, and you're not going to be worried. You're sure player B can do an equally good enough job, and even in some cases do even better. The same thing with Liverpool. When player A isn't playing, player B can do an equally good job and sometimes do even better. But at Chelsea, before time, we knew Alonso isn't as good as Ben Chilwell in terms of the wing play. There are areas where he's better, and we knew that we don't have a good cover for Reece James. So at Chelsea, we had, even in midfield area, at Chelsea, we have starters, we have backups. So the moment any of our starters get injured, we have issues. When Reece James got injured, it became clear to us that we're in serious trouble. In the moment Ben Chilwell got injured, it became clear to us that we have serious trouble because we have backups, and we have starters. So that mentality at Chelsea needs to stop. And even us fans, I think, when Ben Chilwell got injured, we were still calling for the club to find a temporary replacement, to find a backup, because it's already a Chelsea thing to have backups and starters. And that is poor reasoning. It doesn't help matters at all. I think we should change that thinking. It will make a team better the moment we do that. Now, let me switch to the next question. This is Mick Boxing 79. Lukaku has got a worse first touch than Jimmy Savile. I don't know who Jimmy Savile is, but again, giving you a comment, I think you mean that the Jimmy Savile himself has a horrible touch. Okay, we have to be truthful here. Lukaku isn't really a bad player. It's just that he's more suited to a particular style of play, especially an attacking style, counter-attacking style of play. And again, Lukaku operates where he has a lot of space. Without space, he struggles. One-on-one, he struggles. Sometimes he pulls off some beautiful one-on-ones and beat the last man to score goals. But the truth is, in most cases, majority of the times, one-on-one, he is really poor. The same thing goes to Timo Werner. And here's another big issue that I've heard with Lukaku's plays is this. When you look at a top-notch, I call them strikers such as Lewandowski, who again did the job. And you can say even Roberto Firmino of Liverpool. If you look at those players, even after the ball is in motion, they're still able to adjust their position to reach the ball. But in the case of Lukaku, he hardly does that. The moment he's moved first, he remains static, and if in most cases the ball doesn't get to him, that's it. So he should make his runs a bit more dynamic. Move even if the ball is already in motion. If you see that the defender is going to stop the ball reaching to you, you adjust your position so you get to the ball before the defender. Again, is that something he can learn at this age? I think he can. Yeah, there's a possibility. But in terms of his touch, his poor touch, I don't think that will. I think he's improved to a certain measure, but I don't think that will be as good as we would want it to be. So that's, by the way, and Mick Boxing, I think this is the first time I see you here. And please, if you haven't, make sure to smash the like button. And also, if you haven't, do subscribe to the channel. That will help us. It helps us grow. Now, let me see here. Steve Chester says 79, but Timo misses more than Lukaku. Not about first touch. It's about scoring. If at least he can start scoring goals, the first touch, we wouldn't even be talking about it. In Inter Milan, nobody talked about that much. I know some people took some time to make a video, which is a compilation, that's a video of compilation of all Lukaku's bad touches. To me, that's nonsense. If he's scoring, nobody will have the time to discuss his bad touch. Did you guys see how Palace played? They are direct. Our midfielder should do that to give our attacking players more chance to score. I think this is Tobago trying to find a solution to Lukaku's issues. I think the Crystal Palace, if you ask me, yeah, we can be more direct, but again, executing, that sort of performance that performance by Crystal Palace. I think they have a different caliber of players and they play differently. I don't think we can. I don't think we can play like them, most especially when you talk about the midfield area. And that's probably why we need a Conor Gallagher back. He can help us at least be more direct. And Arsenal, I think you make a great point in the sense that Arsenal, they were not allowed to play their game. I think they were startled. Crystal Palace were very, their intensity was brilliant to watch. They didn't give the Arsenal players, too much room to even find space to do some damage against them. Even Bukayo Saka has struggled to find spaces. Yes, I agree with you. I think we need to, play a bit more direct, but I think something needs to change in the midfield area for that to even happen. I think we're accustomed to try and focusing on controlling the game first and then, creating chances second. I think it would be difficult for us to start playing as a Crystal Palace did because of the way Thomas Tuchel likes to play. To be fair, mate, they're both awful. Yeah, they are. We have to be factual here. Gallagher going to bench Mount next season at this point. And looking at it, do you even think Conor Gallagher and Mason Mount will play in the same team? That is one question I have to ask here. I don't know. But here's the thing. I think they're both both players both bring, they have great industry. Their pressing is impressive, or they're good, they have good energy. But I think Mason Mount, I think Conor Gallagher is more box-to-box, more of a box-to-box midfielder than Mason Mount. I think we could still have them both on the pitch. I don't think neither needs to bench each other. I think Gallagher can operate from deeper. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think he can do well operating from deeper since he's able to operate box-to-box. And I think in terms of pressing, I think he presses a bit better. I think he's more aggressive than Conor Gallagher. You could argue is more aggressive than more aggressive than Mason Mount is. Mason Mount also you can say Mason Mount is a better creator than Conor Gallagher, but I think Conor Gallagher will get you more goals, and Gallagher for me is less selfish than Mason Mount is. And the fact is, whether you like it or not, even under Frank Lampard and under Thomas Tuchel, I think you could argue that Chelsea would score more goals had in some cases Mason Mount, if he had been a little less selfish and tried to find his teammate rather than trying to score goals. But again, my argument most importantly is that I don't see Gallagher, either of the two players benching the other. I think they both can play together. We spent 100 million for Lukaku to be on a sub bench. Again, it's important to recognize how much we spent to get him. But the fact is, we shouldn't be playing him even when he's not performing to the detriment of the team. When he's not performing, he needs to be benched to learn, no, we paid that much money for you, but we could still bench you. He needs to, put in, but in some cases, I think that has changed a bit. There was a time that he looked disinterested. There was a time he looked as if he doesn't want to be on the pitch. And Tuchel rightly did bench him then. And we were all going, he needed to be benched. I don't think it matters how much you pay for him. What matters is that he himself has to live up to that price. If he lives up to it, then he gets to start. And then maybe to give him a rest, somebody else will play in that position. But he hasn't proven that he needs to be starting every game or even more game. Here's my brother from another mother, Ankit from Almighty Blues FC, saying big up everyone. How are you doing, brother? I hope you're doing well. You will be streaming twice today also, and I think you did twice yesterday. Kudos to you. Keep up the good work. And please, if you haven't, go check out Almighty Blues FC. Great channel. I'm friends with him because he's always objective, always keeping it real, no clickbait. That's what makes us good friends. So please go check out his channel. If you haven't, please do subscribe to his channel. And also, while you're at it, be sure to like the video so that it will trigger the Google algorithm to push it to more people who would be interested in such streams to come and join us. Yes, King Kai is surely in. Yeah, surely he will start. Yeah, he didn't have the best of game against Brentford, but he had the chances. He didn't put them away. He found himself in some good position, and I think it was ZH that found him on occasions, but he did not score. Okay, let me see if there's any other comment that I'd like to address here. Michael Owen was a super sub for Real Madrid, so why not for this season? How to put it right, Lukaku needs to understand his current role better. Yep, he needs to adapt to the way we play because it will be even more difficult to change our identity to accommodate Lukaku, and I will explain. Now, if you look at the Inter Milan team, the Lukaku, he was on fire. He was scoring goals for fun. Again, he had Lautaro Martinez. He had the Moroccan international that now plays for PSG. What's his name again? I've forgotten his name, but you know who I'm talking about. And then again, they most of the goals they score, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, through counterattacks. I could be wrong, but let me know. So, but Chelsea don't play like that. We like to control the game, which means he has to get involved in the play even more, and then create chances for his teammates whenever he can score, and his teammates will create chances for him whenever they cannot score. I think he's starting to do that of late, because the game against Brentford, when he came on, I think he drew the defenders to him, and that created spaces for Kai Havertz. Yes, so my point being, Lukaku has to understand his current role better. And so my point is that it will be even more difficult trying to change the way we play to accommodate Romelu Lukaku. That will mean we're becoming more counter-attacking focused, and we will. I don't think that's who Tuchel is. So I'd rather Lukaku adjust a bit, and then the team adjust our style of play a bit. They can meet each other halfway, and then everybody will be happy. I think that will get Lukaku firing. But what I would want is changing our identity entirely to accommodate Romelu Lukaku, because I think that's what it would take to get him to regain his form and start firing us on all cylinders like he did at Inter Milan. Fraser says Gallagher destroy Arsenal yesterday, man of the match. Yep, even though he didn't score a goal. Yeah, who scored it for them? I've forgotten who scored for them, but I think his energy, his performance overall was brilliant to see. And again, you could argue, yeah, he destroyed them single-handedly in terms of how he was pressing, and he was literally everywhere. And that kid, believe me, his future lies with Chelsea. And I don't see us selling him. Forget what you see in the news. I don't see Chelsea entertaining any offers for Conor Gallagher, and it doesn't matter how much you bring to the table. And the kid himself wants to come back, and that's a good thing to see. The kid is a Chelsea through and through. He, like, after an interview, he told the interviewer, I forgot who it was then, I think it was Rio or who, make sure to let Chelsea know that his ultimate goal is to come back and play for the club he loves, and that's great to hear. Big up Steve Chelsea. Yeah, this is people in the chat exchanging greetings. We should Lukaku to save his career. Do you mean sell Lukaku? Selling isn't easy, and we can't sell him at even 20% loss. That's a lot of money. But I think at some point, if his form doesn't improve, I think the only way out will probably be to sell him and let him move on and put his career back on track wherever if he finds a team where he thinks it will work for him. I don't think it will make sense to keep him at the club if things don't unchange for him. Fresco says Lukaku don't suit Chelsea, Tobago. I told you he's a counter-attacking player. That's what it is. That's what he is. And I think to get him to start playing like he played at Inter Milan, a lot has to change at Chelsea Football Club. And seriously, I don't see that happening. I think if he stays at Chelsea, he will score goals, but I don't think it will be as many as he did at Inter Milan. And believe me, again, I'm going to repeat myself. I'm not saying Lukaku is a bad player. He just doesn't suit Thomas Tuchel's style of play. And I've talked about it before, using Thomas Tuchel's days at Mainz, at Borussia Dortmund, and PSG as examples. Steve Chelsea, if we're going to challenge for EPL title next season, we need another left wing back. Yes. Okay. Yes. I'm going to please. We have a super chat here. I think it was from Sasuke Uchiha, and he was the person. Sasuke, I can't thank you enough for that first super chat. $50 whopping, my fellow American. I sincerely do appreciate that. And he says, Sasuke, by the way, is usually the first. I'm not sure why he's joins late these days, but that's by the way. We all have other priorities. He says, "Is that it from Chelsea fans? No more protest against the Ricketts. This is not enough. We need to do more. We need to do something crazy as soon as possible. I'm not sure. It has to be something crazy." And since we start talking about it, I think I'll try to look at what's in the news. I think Fraser said something. He believes that the government will not approve, will not approve the Ricketts or something like that. And I will look for something more. I think we can be hopeful. And it's something when Matt from Button Ballers, and by the way, if you haven't, go check out Button Ballers YouTube channel, great channel. He's one of the most knowledgeable people in terms of whatever there is to know about Chelsea Football Club in terms of history and every player that's played for the club. Max is your man. So I urge you to go check out Button Ballers. If you haven't, go do so. I think you will enjoy the channel. So he says something about Roman Abramovich legacy, that he doesn't see Roman Abramovich risking, tarnishing his image at Chelsea by allowing somebody with such history as a Ricketts buying Chelsea Football Club, that he doesn't see him doing that. And I think that made sense. And I haven't actually thought about that until Max came onto the show yesterday and talked about it. Roman loves Chelsea. He's proven that time and time again. One big example is him forfeiting what he could have called in as a loan, but he didn't do that. He also tried to distance himself from the club to avoid the restrictions that the club is under right now, things like that. So I don't see him, and we've been told, and I hope that's the case, because if that's the case, then we are good. And we've been told that he has the final say. Like Tobago, was it Tobago that put it that way yesterday? He has to sign off on the papers before the new owner takes over. So I think Roman, it's up to Roman to pick who the new owners will be. And my argument before Max said that was that Roman was informed of Chelsea's decision to join the Super League, and he probably okayed that decision. So, but he was poorly informed in terms of what the possible outcome of Chelsea joining the Super League would be. So I'm thinking from that, what we'll learn from that. My concern when Max was on the panel was that there's a possibility that Roman will be poorly informed of the future of the Ricketts family, and then all he will know about will be just how financially strong the Ricketts consortium is. And maybe don't know much about their racist history, Islamophobia history. So he possibly could the sell to the Ricketts family before he realizes, this was a big mistake. But I've been encouraged not to worry too much about it, that he will be properly informed of the history of each of these consortiums vying to become the new owners of Chelsea Football Club. And the truth is, if that's the case, I'm hopeful. I don't see the Ricketts becoming the new owners of Chelsea Football Club, no matter who they bring in, because the fact is they're still a part of the whole process. Again, first, before I continue, I want to say thank you to Sasuke Uchiha. I appreciate the super chat. That will go a long way. And I can assure you all that I don't think the Ricketts family will become the new owners of Chelsea Football Club. I think even the more you look at it, the more you see that it's not possible, because Marina wouldn't want, I believe she's well acquainted with the whole pushback against the Ricketts and why the fans don't want them. I think she talks with Roman Abramovich and will educate him on why the fans are pushing back against the Ricketts family. And again, finally, like Max said yesterday, Roman wouldn't want to leave the Chelsea Football Club in the hands of such people, and then a few years down the line, get the fans turn against him and say, "You cost this, you sold us to these people." Tobago, your thoughts?
How are you?
Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
How are you?
I'm fine. I can't complain. How about you? How you doing?
I'm good.
So, what do you think about this comment on the screen? I think Sasuke Uchiha's concern is that the fact that he's not hearing about any plans for any further protests. He's saying that we're not doing enough. And he's saying we need to do something crazy as soon as possible. And again, please, Sasuke, the language there, "do something crazy," could be interpreted, misinterpreted. I know what you mean there. We shouldn't even be doing anything crazy, because if we do anything crazy, we'll bring, the government could find reasons to punish us even further. And we're already going through a lot. And that could end up affecting the performances of the players in the Champions League game. So I don't think we should do anything crazy. And if you ask me, if anybody wants to protest, let the protest end outside the stadium, so that inside the stadium, the fans will concentrate on supporting the fans. Tobago, I want to get your thoughts on Sasuke Uchiha's suggestion.
Yes, I think the protest should not stop, but also we should be careful what we are doing there. As you seen in yesterday, Saturday, the game, the fans were not there for the players, and then we saw that even that performance was bad, because we didn't have enough noise from our fans. I don't know if are affected by this protest or not. So that's why Tuchel said it after the game. We need more from our fans, because if the fans are cheering for the boys there, the boys will do more. Even when we were torn down, I think if the fans were there and then cheering the guys, maybe something could have happened. But also, I want to mention something. Before Roman was sanctioned, we were reading reports saying he will find the best suitable owners for Chelsea. But now, since they sanctioned him, do he still have enough power to be able to look for a potential buyer that will run a Chelsea Football Club? Because, to be honest, all people on that list, they're all Americans. What about, for example, that Turkey guy or Saudi media? We know Saudi media doesn't have enough man, but we don't know the real reason. Even Todd Boehly's consortium.
Here's the thing. I think we heard something from Sav, which I think the main reason why the Saudi media group didn't make it to the final phase, even before time. Listen, but there are a couple of things we thought before this phase. There are things we thought that were going to be an issue, and I think those things will most definitely be an issue. If you recall the first statement from the South, what were things we read about the Saudi media group? First, it said, the statement reads that the Saudi media group, that they did not have any direct link. They do not have direct links. So that statement itself is a big problem, because it did not have any links at all. It says does not have any direct link, which means there's a chance there are links, which means actually there are links. They're just saying there's no direct links. Plus, we had an issue also another thing we talked about before this phase was that the fact that Saudi, and I think they're the same family, the owners of Newcastle United. That right there, that is raises questions about ethics or conflicts of interest, if you like. That's an issue. And then we learned from staff after they were eliminated that they were not able to tell where they were going to get the money from. And something staff said quite a lot here on the panel was that we keep talking about Saudi Media Group like they're the ones that has all the 1 trillion or whatever net worth that the family has. It is the family collectively. It's not the Saudi Media Group itself. The Saudi Media Group, I think, is just worth about $1 billion or so. So that in itself, it's an issue. And like staff said, they were not able to, to show. I don't know how. Let me not misquote anybody, but it has to do where they will get the money to pay for Chelsea Football Club. So I think we were just. I think we hyped them so much. We all actually overhyped them, thinking there's a possibility for them to do something they cannot even do. So to them, there were a lot of stumbling blocks, even from the onset, that we knew they will have a problem overcoming. And so it ended up being the case. So, but that's, by the way, let me quickly breeze through the chart. And this is Fraser here saying, what did he say? I think O'Connell can play in a mid 3 or even 2, which Mount cannot. Yeah, that's another difference between the two players. Gallagher, a classic box to box. You have every right to define him as that. And Fraser says, I never said I didn't want Lukaku. I said I wanted a player TT wants. I would never. Honestly, Lukaku wasn't my first choice. I have to be honest, but that is you. Majority of Chelsea fan base wanted Erling Haaland, but I wanted Dusan Vlahovic, and I even did a video then. That was at that time. That was one of my videos with one of the most views. Then I did it with Mikhail, and Mikhail did some research. He was brilliant in that video. And again, surprisingly to us, Chelsea did not consider Dusan Vlahovic. He played in the same league as Lukaku. I'm not going to go too much into it, but because we didn't sign him, he now plays for Juventus. He played in the same league with Lukaku, but I think he was Atalanta, but he was just 3 goals behind Romelu Lukaku, and plus he played in a team that created less chances. That alone baffles me and made me think, what type of scouts do we have at Chelsea Football Club? They did not see that statistic. They did not see the fact that he scored 3 goals less than Lukaku, whereas he played in a team that created less chances than Inter Milan, and we went and paid 100 million plus for Romelu Lukaku. Tobago, I'm just going to go through the comments in the chat, and then I'll come back to you. He says Tuchel is a coach. Whoever he wants, I am happy. That's the thing. Yeah, hopefully that's one thing I'd like to change at Chelsea, and not to get players who the owner wants and not the players the manager wants. This is Hams Master. And Hams, I know you haven't been on the panel on my channel before. The link to the panel is in the chat, and it's pinned. If you want to join us, I'd appreciate it if you have time to do so. And please, wherever you're watching from, and please do take some time, please, to like the video. It is free, and if anybody asks you to pay, tell them I already paid for you. And if you haven't, please do subscribe to the channel. That goes a long way. We've gained about 3 subscribers today. That is huge, but I think we can do more. We can even get to 1,200 subscribers today if we keep pushing. Yes, that is true. So, Hams, if you can join, that would be great. If not, I understand. Fraser says Ruben Loftus-Cheek will be gone in the summer, and Gallagher would take his place. That's a possibility, but I think if we can start playing Ruben Loftus-Cheek as number 8 and not deeper in the midfield, I think he'd do better. If you followed Ruben's progress under Mauricio Sarri, you'd see that he's more of a number 8 than a sitting midfielder, except if you give him the freedom to drive forward with the ball and then, the freedom to roam about on the pitch is better. But I think he's better off as a number 8. And don't forget, he's a fine finisher too. It's just that he's not been quite lucky with score in terms of scoring goals since after the reign of Mauricio Sarri. And one thing, he's a fine creator also. And one thing that's special about the chances he creates is that I think N'Golo Kante does the same thing. If he's coming at the defenders, he's never in a rush to pass the ball to his teammates who's making a run. He delays the passing of the ball until it's so late. When he passes the ball to that person who's open to receive it, the next move will be the person will be one-on-one with the goalkeeper, because the difference is if you pass the ball in a haste, the defending team will still get the chance to defend the ball. But if you delay it a bit and pass it in that is the nick of time that is the space between the goalkeeper and the defending team, the person that gets the ball, his only job will be just to beat the goalkeeper. And again, he's a fine creator too. But to get that quality out of him, he'd have to play further forward as a number 8. But I'm not sure why Tuchel prefers to deploy him deeper. I think he's vulnerable there because he likes to dribble, and he's given up the ball in some dangerous places. But we've been lucky not to concede from those giveaways. Mount is more like a number 10, and Connor more like number 8. I think you could argue that Connor can do better as a number 8, but I think he can play at in the number 10 position too. Never wanted Lukaku, but we'll back him. We have to. That's a good, brilliant comment right there. I think we have to back him. He's one of us. We don't have to give up on him. It will not make sense to always bash him, to always criticize him. But he's a professional player. Whenever he underperforms, that is for a long period of time, he deserves to be critiqued. There's nothing bad about that. Let me see if there's anything. Okay, Staff says here, elephant in the room. Why does Tuchel feel the need to play short out from the back against a hard press, losing position in our own half? Yes, again, that's a great point right there. You could argue we've always struggled when teams press us aggressively. And I think what highlighted that the most was that our first loss against Manchester City. I think, what game was it? The game that I argued Manchester City knew that we do find it difficult to play against teams that press us aggressively. I think they started preparing for that game. I think that was the first game we played against them this season. They started preparing for that game after the loss to us in the Champions League final. And in that game, I think I'm going to repeat something I made in the review of that game. It was just as if the Manchester City players, they knew the passing lanes of each Chelsea players, and they pressed aggressively, they pressed strategically, and I think they laid the blue print for all the teams that we've struggled against. They pressed us like Manchester City did in that game, and they pressed us so effectively that we had no option. Our players looked startled, and what they do is just find spaces and boot the ball forward. We couldn't play our game that day, and that's a great point there that Stav made. But Stav, what do you suggest is a solution, given that that's how Tuchel likes to play? It's a huge problem, and like I've established, that loss against Manchester City, I think they laid the blue print for other teams. This is how you beat Chelsea if you want to do that. And if you look at games we've struggled on, that is of late, the teams, they press us aggressively, they press us strategically too. And whenever teams do that, we struggle quite a lot. We found it difficult to play our game. Vision of Lampard's Chelsea. Big up to you and blue morning to you, Mikhail. I hope you're doing it well. And I want to take this opportunity to announce something. Every day on the show, I will do a draw to pick one contestant. And for 10 consecutive days, we will pick 10 contestants. And what do we want from that 10 contestants? We want you to write a tribute to Roman Abramovich. And if you're picked the moment the club is sold, you get to participate. And we are selecting people to be the judge on his show. And you see how this banner here is presented on the screen that says Live Chelsea News Update. That will be you speaking, and the judges will be on the left-hand side, or the judges will be on the bottom like this, and you will present your tribute to Roman Abramovich, and you move to the next stage. There will be first round, there will be quarterfinals, semifinals, and the finals. And the finalists, anybody that wins the finals stage, will get to win $150. So I will write more about it, and I think I will write about it and put it on the Chelsea Perspective blog. And by the way, if you haven't checked out the Chelsea Perspective blog, please do so. And let me see if I can share that with you so you see what we have there. And I'll get back to you guys in a bit. I just want to show you the blog. So if you want to be a part of that, if you want to be part of the contents, if you want to be one of the contestants, stay around. We'll pick one contestant today, and tomorrow we'll pick another contestant for 10 days. And then they will now, the moment you're selected, you go write your tribute. And remember, it is not just one time. You write the first one, and then you move to the second round. If the format changes, I will let you know. Of course, I will discuss the format with some of my advisors on the channel, which includes Mikhail, Stav, Nick Blue, Just Viola, and other people that advise me or give me good advice. So we'll find a good format to make it a good show for you guys. So now, this is the Chelsea Perspective blog. Okay, in a bit, I'll let you come in, brother. Yeah, thank you very much. I'm here, by the way, with Tobago, my brother from South Africa. He says he has breaking news. I'll come back to you so you share it. So this is the Chelsea Perspective blog, and you can switch from this mode to the dark mode, and then you can look at, this is the open letter from Mikhail that we talked about, and this is a brilliant read. This is seriously a brilliant read. Again, the Chelsea Perspective blog, the URL is chelseaperspective.com. You can go check it out. Again, I urge you to find some time to read this open letter by Mikhail. I think you will enjoy it. I think this is Nick Blue with a comment there. Nicholas Papadimitriou. Absolutely agree. Thank you for that comment there, Nick Blue. I appreciate that. So I urge you to go check out the Chelsea Perspective blog. I think you will like it. It has a dark mode, and then it has the light mode, whichever you prefer. You can switch to. And then we have videos there that you can watch. And then also we have a calendar that shows you what's scheduled for Chelsea Perspective. So I'm going to go back to you, Tobago. What's the breaking news you have for us?
Simon Justin just posted
Tobago,
something.
you still there?
Yes, yes. You hear me?
Okay, it doesn't look like Tobago is still there. Let me know when you come back, and then let me be sure it's not my headset.
I'm here.
It looks like it. Okay, I will continue when Tobago comes back. We will talk about the breaking news he has for us. And yeah, so blue morning to you, Mikhail, and thank you for that wonderful open letter to the prospective Chelsea new owners. Yes, Tobago, can you hear me now? Yes, Tobago, can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Yes, you say you have a breaking news for us, so go ahead, shoot. We're listening.
Yes, Sky Sports reporter just relieved that Steve, the owner of Atalanta, has added someone from former Disney chairman Bob Iger to back his
added former Disney. Yeah, he's added former Disney chairman too. So now he's not alone now.
Yes, that's what I've told more people, because like now it's about money. There's no longer about who have the better plan for Chelsea. It's about money. As you see, Ricketts family added someone days ago.
Okay, yes, I will keep. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. but this guy worth 800 million.
$800 million, you say?
Yes.
Mm. Okay, so I
So
will look. I will look for the news to see if I'll see a tweet about it, and I'd really would
yes.
like to talk about it. So yeah, go ahead. You want to say something more about it?
No. Just check Simon Johnson. You'll get the post now.
Yes, I will check if I find something on that. So let's continue reading what's in the chat and see if there's anything to address. I guess he wants excitement in his life. I'm not sure what Mikhail is talking about because I am not caught up yet. Sad Hazard not playing against us. Sad that he will be out till the end of the season. I think he should leave Real Madrid. It will be good for him to find a way and put his career back on track, and also good for him for Madrid too. You wouldn't want to keep a player you paid 100 million plus, and all he does is sit on the bench and gets injured every now and then. It just doesn't make sense. I'm glad Kai Havertz missed those chances, because if it was no, that's not good. I wouldn't wish any of our players that, brother. Why did you say that? And this is bigger. Coach Tuchel needs to go back to old school tactics. Come tomorrow. Possibly, again, he will revert to three at the back formation, that's for sure. We have Ben Chilwell back, but the question is, who will he deploy on the left wing back position? That's an issue. I don't think we're fully ready. If he wants, the only person that position is his natural position is Marcos Alonso. And if Alonso starts against Real Madrid, believe me, they will make a sandwich with them. They will mop the floor with him, or however you want to see it. But that's by the way. Fraser says he gave an assist. This is a close arm. And this is makes him 4-3-3 best for Lukaku. All he needs is the ball played in front of him more aerially or on the ground, just not into him. Again, how many times are you even gonna get the chance to play the ball into him or in the air? The Premier League is different from the Italian league in terms of. I don't think he will get. Let's just be sincere here. However you see it, Lukaku thrives when there's space, and when there's no space, he struggles. That is just the truth, and that hasn't changed. Tobago, I know you like him so much. Can you, without favoring him, without being biased, tell me the truth? Lukaku, he only does well when there's space for him to operate.
Yes. You're right. Lukaku do better when he have space around him.
And you see in the Premier League, he will not always get that.
Yes, that's why. You know what? I'm not gonna blame Lukaku or Tuchel or Marina buying Lukaku for Chelsea. I think our scouting department are failing us a lot, because they should just look at how Chelsea football plays, and then they should get a striker that will fit into Tuchel's system. So unfortunately, Lukaku was in the market, and then we couldn't get Erling Haaland, and then they went for Lukaku. So now the guy is not playing. So it's so bad, man. Hopefully, if he doesn't get enough chance, he'll go somewhere, because like now, Belgium coach said something like that about him, that he needs to play more so that he can represent his country. If not, he's not playing, he won't be able to represent his country.
Yeah, that's actually an issue. I don't think even if it means going back on loan to Inter Milan, maybe with an option for them to buy him, but Inter sold him because they had financial issues, and I don't think that has changed. So that makes me wonder: would they even want to, take him with an option to buy? I don't think even his salary too, because I think he asked for them to up his salary and they refused, which was one of the reasons why they decided to sell him. I don't think they'd even agreed to take him on loan. I don't think so. Again, your thoughts on what's this? Have you seen how upset Lukaku gets when ball isn't played into his feet? And I've talked about that before. Again, I think that's a big problem. I think he's lack of proper ball control is one of the reasons why he struggles in this team. I think we must recognize that. I don't think that doesn't mean he's a bad player. Every player you know today has one deficiency or the other. In this case, it's a lack of ball control, and to me, that is a huge issue. Now, I think let me read some stuff from Simon Phillips, a tweet 11 minutes ago, just to keep us updated with it. Then I'll come back to what we're talking about right now. Now, this is from Simon Phillips, and he says the Ricketts family will immediately start work on redeveloping Stamford Bridge if they win the race to buy Chelsea, and insist they will continue playing at their historic home. I think this doesn't differ much from what we've read before. And Simon Phillips at this time is sounding like he's working for them, and I don't really like it. It's sounding like he's, no, I think we don't need to be reading this thing, because it just looks as if these guys are just, all they want to do is talk the only positive stuff about them. None of them talks frequently like we've done before, the issues they've had in the past. So I think we don't want to help them to do that. And I'm tired of talking, yeah. Let's just go ahead with what we've been discussing here. And thank you for that information. It says, yeah, exactly. So talking about Lukaku, as an attacker, the ball doesn't have to come to your feet. For instance, those on the flanks, putting the crosses on the carpet or in the air, in the box, you make a move, you adjust your position. If it doesn't get to you, if you see it won't get to you, and you've played this game long enough to be able to calculate when the ball will be able to get to you or not, and readjust your position. So yeah, that's a big issue for me where Lukaku is. The ball shouldn't always get to your feet in some cases, because we have defenders. We have people defending our move. So it is not just about you. You're not the only one on the pitch. Yeah, you can say, okay, those on the flanks can find you, can find you with a ball on the carpet or in the air, and it will come at you and not miss you by an inch or so. You're not the only person on the pitch. There are people defending our attacking, moves. So you should be able, you should be able to readjust your move to adapt and mix the ball halfway and then do something with it. He says Lukaku doesn't suit our style of play. Yes, I agree with you. And please hit the like button. He says, adios. Adios. LSC is meeting the board, setting down the law. I'm not sure if that. I think that's a joke. I think, Mikhail, I think that's just a frustration. He's a lot more effective with the ball ahead of him. Everton, Man United, even Inter Milan. That's the truth, and that can only happen when you have space. So, Mick, Boxing 79. That brings us back to our argument that Lukaku plays with a lot of space. Pierre says LSG has several meetings with Bruce Buck. Okay, can we look at goals Lukaku scored for Chelsea, FA Cup goals, crosses from Mount, Club World Cup, Cho against Arsenal? So what's your points, Steve Chelsea? Let me know here. I want to really know what you're trying to tell us. We can see Lukaku needs a feeding. Maybe not on the pitch. Maybe he should go sit on his dining. But I get what you're saying. I'm just kidding there. But I don't think feeding has always been the issue. I think, can he do better when we play a certain style of a certain system? Yes, he can. But this time, you could argue the system isn't really the issue. Been all over Matt Law Twitter, nothing about Ricketts failing EPL checks. Do you have a link, a phrase? Yeah, good question. I haven't seen it, because if I see any, I'd share it. And again, Tobago, I hope you understand why I said these guys, they're beginning to sound like the past of the Ricketts family. All they do is talk or say positive stuff about them. And again, I'm not willing to join in that. I'm still concerned that they have a chance to even the fact that they have a chance to, they're in this phase of the whole process, that they may well emerge as the new owners of Chelsea Football Club. So I don't want to entertain their stadium plans or whatever. statements they put out. Yeah, so that's it. Do you read? I never said that Matt Law said about EPL check. I said they will be okay. The face and that makes EPL checking felon on them because of the no. Here's the thing. Let's get something straight. The government, I don't think will fail them because of their racist history, or however you want to phrase it, or because of how they treat their employee. It has to be something more serious than that. The only person or the only people I think will have an issue with the racism history, the Islamophobia history, how they treat their employee, how well they've done with the Cubs or Marina Petacek. I don't know if I should add Busbok to that list. So I don't think the racism role or the Islamophobia role will be an issue with the government. They could care less about that. I think it has to be something more serious before the government vetting for the Ricketts becomes an issue. So like I've mentioned, I think the people there to save us from that will be Marina Petacek, the other guy. I don't want to add Bruce Buck to that list, and Roman himself, who will learn from Max yesterday, wouldn't want to leave Chelsea in the hands of someone with such history, and then the fans in a few years will start saying, well, you cost it, you sold us to this guy, and that would tarnish Roman's legacy. So I don't think, but again, the government could care less about their past history in terms of, okay, you said yesterday yourself they wouldn't be major share, but Matt Law now confirms he will be the face. So, yeah, again, it was declared, I argued yesterday, if the Ricketts aren't the major shareholders, then they must be contributing something bigger, which could either be, I think they're well connected in terms of who makes the final decision, or maybe what we're hearing are all lies. So I don't know. So I'm not sure about the structure of or the makeup of their consortium. We're not sure about the agreement they have with the new entrants, which includes the Rock Entertainment Group and whoever else, if they've added to the group. So, but that's by the way. Matt Law has said they are face of the club if they purchase it. No matter whether they are major shareholders or not, they are part of the consortium, and they are face of the consortium too. They were the ones that brought in Ken Griffin. They brought in the other the Rock Entertainment Group owner, so they are face of their own group. So I hope that's what you're saying. Come on, you Blues. Yeah, MA, if this is your first time here, please make sure to like the video and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't. That goes a long way. And please allow me to take a sip of my coffee before I lose my voice. Tobago, Coachila, check Absolute Chelsea, a new update from Ricketts family. I will check it, but I'll have to tell you this. If it is telling us about how they want to build the stadium and all that, I honestly do not want to talk about it. I want us to keep talking about the issues we have with them. That's important, because the moment we get distracted, I think that will embolden them even more. You stated, Matt Law, okay, this is between the two guys in the chat. Athletic has just posted update about Ricketts family a few minutes ago. Absolutely, okay, I will check that too in a bit. I said, Matt Law. Tobago, while I check that, do you have anything I have to say?
No, it's fine. I don't have anything to say. But now, my question now, Ricketts family are adding more people into their consortium. Are they tipped to add more people so that they can win the race? That's my question now.
Two things. I think because they've asked to some stuff that are important. That is more stuff they want to know. More of something that educates them on the responsibilities they have to take on should they buy just a football club. That's one. And remember, I think they were asked, I'm not sure what it was, to guarantee $1 billion. So that is in finances available that's money to be sure the club is run properly, even if they buy the club. I'm not sure that's what it's for. Again, I think more comes up. Maybe they've seen the need that they need to include more people in the group to be able to afford. That is the financial need if should they take over Chelsea Football Club. That's the case. And again, I think they're also using the opportunity, if you ask me, again, that's me, how I see it, as a distraction. Your thoughts, you tell me what you think.
Yeah, also it's a distraction, but now look at Stefan Pavluka. Just added someone also in his consortium. Maybe he's scared of the bid of Ricketts because they already included someone. They're also doing the same thing.
Mhm. I agree with you. And again, this is why I call this a distraction, and we shouldn't be, take our eyes off the balls. And again, let me make this point right now. The moment that the 8 point pledge was released, I saw that as a distraction because the truth remains the moment it was released, the content creators, the media, they talked less about the Ricketts family future and talked more about what's in the pledge. And I was, I was guilty. I'm guilty of that myself until I realized, wait, this is, even if this wasn't meant to be a distraction, it is now a distraction because we talked less about what we're concerned about and started reading, okay, what can we gain from here? What did they say they were going to do for us? So to me, this is a distraction. I don't care who's putting it out there. This is absolute Chelsea saying, Eric Nodders working for Ricketts family on Stamford Bridge redevelopment. As soon as we blah, blah, blah. This to me is absolute nonsense. We shouldn't take our eyes off the ball, which is our concern that given their history, we don't want them to become the new owners of Chelsea Football Club. And the moment that the pushback subsides, they will be emboldened. And those representing us may well say, well, I think they're beginning to come to terms that these guys could possibly emerge the new owners, and they don't have a problem with them as long as they can take good care of the club. So that's an issue for me. If you ask me, I say we should stop paying attention to this. To me, this is nonsense. This is just a spoken word, and there's no guarantee they're going to do this. Why are they moving to the level of even telling us Eric Nuggets working for Ricketts family on Stamford Bridge redevelopment? What I do know is that if we have to be at Stamford Bridge, you see, this is just distraction. See how far away they're going. So to me, I wouldn't be reading so much into this. I think I'm not going to cover that again, except if it has anything to do, let's say we're here. Okay, you know what? They're out. We hear that one of the people vying to become the new owners of Chelsea Football Club has, have given up, or, some news, or maybe the Ricketts decide, okay, you know what, we've given up. You don't want us, we're gone. So this is absolute nonsense, if you ask me. This is also, doesn't matter if there aren't major shareholders, when they will be the face of the club, it still makes them unsuitable. Yes, I agree with this argument. The most important thing, I think they started the whole process before bringing others in, whether we like it or not, whether somebody else comes and takes 90% and gives them 10%, as long as they're still part owners of the club, it is still an issue for me. Again, that is me. I don't know how you see it. Yeah, it's still a big problem for me, but that's, by the way, we move. Let me see. Okay, we should see, says, and let me see if there's something else. Okay, you're talking about Vlahovic, Fiorentina. Okay, yes, thank you very much for that. Vlahovic was a younger player with better resale value, with similar production to Lukaku in Serie A, albeit playing for a lesser team and a team that created less chances than Inter Milan did that year. And he was just 3 goals behind Romelu Lukaku. So why Chelsea didn't go for him, I don't want to talk about that right now, because I was really pissed that we didn't get Vlahovic. It didn't even look like our scouts we made any move. We didn't even look like we reached out, because he would have been, I think, almost half the price then. Even though Fiorentina knew then that were interest from European powerhouses, I think they tried to offer him a new contract then. He was reluctant a bit, but at the time they succeeded, and that's probably why Juventus has to pay, I think, something close to 80 or so. I'm not sure the price. Tobago, your thoughts on why didn't we get Vlahovic?
Because of our scouters, they're sleepy. If we had a proper scouts, we should have signed a better player. Even that Benfica striker, Nunes, we should at least get him. We needed a new young, fresh striker that can play alongside Mount and Havertz, Pulisic, because like we had a young team. Now, unfortunately, we just got Lukaku because he was available in the market. Because remember, Fabrizio said Lukaku is not going anywhere. He's untouchable. So unfortunately, because of the new contract issue he had in Inter, Chelsea got a chance to buy him. So
yeah, go ahead.
That's why we didn't sign Lukaku. I mean, other strikers, because like we focused a lot on getting Erling Haaland and then forget that there's other strikers around that maybe we can inquire or buy. So unfortunately, it's our scouters problem.
Again, there are other factors such as that his proper Chelsea through and through and all that. And I myself also, I did a video saying I want him back at Chelsea, but I argued that it shouldn't be anything north of 70 million pounds. But of course, I am just a content creator. I'm not. I don't make the decisions. I can only wish that the club did. I only wish the club did what I wanted them to do. But in the end, they did not. But that's by the way. And this comment here from Mikhail says, "But that ship has already sailed. Now Lukaku is our first striker. Wake up, please. Better yet, wake Lukaku up. Yeah, that I agree with you. We have to support him. His injury has destroyed him. Coachila. Who is he talking about? Is it Lukaku? I'm guessing Lukaku. First of all, Steven Pagluka in talks with a string of potential co-investors ahead of a deadline for final bids for the Chelsea next Monday, including approaching former Walt Disney chairman Bob Iger, which Tobago already talked about. But I think Steven himself, who the face of that consortium, he has a big issue, and as long as he remains there, I think it will be difficult for that group to emerge the new owners of Chelsea Football Club, given the issue we've talked about here that he has. Pierre Kekari says, Fraser, who would be called a Mickey Mouse Club if they win? Yep, I think we don't want that to happen. Laughing, there you go again. Scout didn't pick Lukaku. Again, good comment there. It wasn't the scout. But then again, my question is, why didn't the scout suggest Dusan Vlahovic? Or even, I think we could have, given how many chances we created on the this part before we signed Lukaku. It's just that we weren't putting our chances away. Who thought about it and said we need a point man like Lukaku, which obviously when whoever thought about it should have known. Obviously, bringing in a striker would mean changing the way we play. Because the fact is, in the absence of Lukaku, before we signed him, we created a lot of chances, and the chances come to players from every department in our team, not a single individual. So you'd ask me if it was Pep Guardiola, I didn't think he'd go for a point man. It doesn't matter who suggested Lukaku, and I'm sure I don't think it was a scout. If you ask me, I'd say it doesn't matter who suggested Lukaku. I'd say it would have been better off trying to get our players to start scoring goals and not go buy a point man, an expensive one at that, which means the manager would be obliged to play him. Even when he's underperforming, they will still be trying hard to get him to start scoring goals. Now, in fact, both Mount and Gallagher will benefit from 5 subs the next season. Yep. And the truth is, we have lots of games to play, so it's not just a single game. And again, like I've argued, none will bench each other. I think there are 2 different types of players. Your thoughts on both players, Tobago? DJ, how you doing, bro? Welcome to the panel. How are you doing today, brother?
Yeah, big up to you, coachila. Big up to who's the other person in this?
It's Tobago, but it looks like we've lost him. I can't hear him.
Not on the chat with you.
Sorry, he was on the chat before, yeah. Yeah, I think we're having connection issues with those on the panel. Maybe that will be fixed. And he says, yes, indeed, Pierre Kakari. Now he is monetized. Coachila has more chance with the right back as than Pag. Yeah, that's a good one, Stav. Yeah, maybe we should go in. We should put in a beat. Stav, can you hear me, DJ? DJ, can you hear me? I think those on the panel, I think, are having connection issues. I'm sure it is not my headset. My headset is well connected. Guys, you guys should let me know. I think you have, maybe you have to go out and come back in, and maybe that will fix the situation. And we have Joy the boy here who said you make that HDMI perspective. Yes. Okay, I'm going to say this. I haven't said this before. I am a web programmer. I started as a web developer and then ventured into back-end development. Yes, so I developed the Chelsea Perspective blog myself, of which, of course, in terms of contributions from the likes of Joss Biola, for the color theory, she suggested change this color to this, change the other one to this, and also Mikhail, Dana Hill, all those contributions from my close friends who said suggestions on how to make it better, but I still welcome suggestions because it's not perfect yet. Yeah, I did. Big up Chelsea Perspective and Nick Blue. Big up to you two deals at CFC. Let me see. And this is for him, my brother from another mother. CFC for him. Great channel, great content, always objective, no clickbait. Make sure to go check out CFC for him. Yep. I think I'm going to keep moving here to see if there's something else to address here. Todd Boehly needs to win it. Yeah, I think he has a chance, and I think I like it when people, I think possibly they're not as vocal as the Ricketts, probably because they don't have big issues just like the Ricketts do. The Ricketts, this time, they have no option than to find a way to distract us, and I think really they're doing a pretty good job at that. And I think, like I said before, especially the moment the eight page statement or whatever you want to call it was released, the Chelsea content creators, Chelsea fans talked more about that 8-point pledge than their history. I want to ask you this, Tobago, can you hear me? It looks like I can't hear this, guys, and I'm not sure why. But if you're in the chat, please do let me know if you can still hear me. That will be fine. Oh, okay. I'm seeing something. So I'm going to breeze. I'm going to continue solo. Okay, Tobago, can you hear me?
Yes.
I want to get your thoughts. I said, don't you think this all this nonsense that Matt Law are tweeting and other guys are tweeting about the stadium, talking about them way ahead of themselves? Don't you think it's intentional? It's designed to distract us.
Yes.
Yep, and Mikhail says, great read by all the contributors on Chelsea. Yep, great read by all the contributors on Chelsea Perspective. Maybe I should show that again in case if you're interested in visiting our website. Again, this is the Chelsea Perspective website. You can go from light mode to dark mode, and let's see the people we have here. We have Mikhail. This is Mikhail's open letter to the prospective new Chelsea owners, and this is an article by Olaoluwa. That's a match preview. And this is the irregularity of Chelsea change by also Olaoluwa. And in the whole articles, I think we have about 2 articles from Dan Hill, who's a fine writer Dan Hill also writes for the Chelsea social. Let me see. I think we have an article. This is Dan Hill. This is Dan Hill. Yeah, we have 2 articles from Dan Hill. Timo Up, should Timo Werner and Chelsea go their separate ways? What Chelsea need to do in the summer? So I think we have 2 articles from Dan Hill and about 7 or 8, I think, or 8 articles from Olua. And I think those, some are interesting and good contribution from some good writers there. And I think you should go check it out. DJ, welcome back to the panel. How are you doing, brother? Okay, it is not me. DJ, can you hear me? I think we still can hear you. I think he's gone out again. He is having connection issues. So Tobago, you believe it's a distraction, right?
Yes, it's a distraction, my man.
Yeah, and it's working. And it's really working for them, if you ask me. So Joe Du Bois says perspective. Yeah, did you use estimate? I use PHP because I'm a back-end coder. I use PHP. And it was developed from scratch. I use PHP for the WordPress aspect because there are some custom features that I added to it. And I also use HTML, CSS, jQuery, and all that for the front end. DJ, can you hear me now, brother? How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, bro. Guys, can you hear me?
Brilliant, crystal clear right now, and that's good to see. And DJ, I want to come to you straight away with something that I said at the moment. The Ricketts family released the eight pledge your 8 promises, 8-point promises, if you want. I said it was a distraction, and it looks like it's working. And as they've taken it up a notch. The moment we stopped talking about the 8-point promises or 8-point pledge, if you want. Now they start talking about. They have statements about the stadium redevelopment and the guy in charge of it talking, and that's what Matt Law and other known Chelsea journalists are doing right now. To me, I'd say it's a strategy, it's a distraction strategy, and it's really working for them. What do you think about that, DJ? Because if you noticed, all what Chelsea content creators did yesterday was talk about the 8-point pledge, nothing else. And now they put out something else, because if they let it go by a day without talking about something else, distracting us with something else, we will start talking about their history again. So they're smart enough to start talking about the stadium redevelopment. And believe me, it's working. Your thoughts, DJ?
Yep. First of all, obviously, thank you for having me on your show, bro. Big up to everybody.
You're welcome, brother. You're welcome.
Big up to Tobago as well, and on the thing with me as well. Mikhail, first of all, Mikhail's comments of my Wi-Fi. Listen, bro, my Wi-Fi is a bit. It's giving me a bit of issues at the moment because, as I said, we're moving house, so a lot of my stuff is going up and down at the moment. So it'll be back to normal soon, I hope. Anyway,
yeah, moving isn't easy, bro. I understand. Go ahead.
Yeah, but going back to that thing, listen, it's another. We talked about the 8 points yesterday, isn't it? It's another way of trying to win the Chelsea fans over, and on top of that, he's using the Cubs ground that they're currently at with the baseball team, of what they had to do and how they stayed there rather than move to anywhere else. So now more or less they're coming in there saying literally saying, "Oh, we're going to try and keep Stamford Bridge because it's a historic stadium. We don't want to move it. You know, we're going to try and do whatever we can on it." But if people actually go to Stamford Bridge and know. There's no way works can be done on there unless you're going to go from underneath, because around the whole surroundings of Stamford Bridge, you got the train station line, you got the electrical stuff, you got people's houses there. What you're going to do? You can't go around breaking down people's houses to get this thing for us to actually get Stamford Bridge developed. So unless he's going to go to specific stands and they start from the bottom up to get those seats up, then maybe there might be a way from it. But look, again, it's just a selling tool. Just hope, obviously for them to get their hands on Chelsea Football Club. And again, I keep saying to it, and I'll say it again, no, thank you. And on top of that, what added more insult to injury, right, was a guy actually had the nerve to say no other person that wanted to buy Chelsea has actually talked about the bridge, about an extension to Stamford Bridge, or talked about expanding Stamford Bridge. I think you find if he actually read the comments and what Roman Abramovich has basically said, anybody coming into that football that's going to buy Chelsea have to invest in the stadium. It's as simple as that. So everyone knew of it, and everybody's actually talked about it. I know for a fact the Saudi media group 100% mentioned that in their blueprint when they talked about extending Stamford Bridge. I know Todd Boehly's has mentioned it, and I also believe Nick Candy mentioned it. These are all the three contenders. The only one I didn't really see anything from was from Sir Marten Broughton. Whether he said it or not, I don't know. But the others did say it. So for them to come out and say they were the only ones that said this, is utter lies and rubbish already, because it's not true at all.
Yeah. And again, just to finally, I think you make great point, and I think they just throwing out whatever they can to make sure we are distracted, and believe me, it is working. Like I've said like 10 times on this show, we've talked less about their past, how they treated people. We're now talking more of every nonsense they put out there through their reach in the media. So DJ, overall, can you categorically say they are that is intentional with those statements they're putting out from the guy that's in charge of the plans to redevelop Stamford Bridge, that because it's a distraction and it's working? Can you say it's that? Is that a distraction for you?
Yeah, I wouldn't, whether it's a distraction or they're just obviously they're trying to get themselves up there because obviously they want the grounds, they want Chelsea so badly. I mean, look, us fans, we're not silly. We know what they're trying to do, and I think as I keep saying, it doesn't matter what they throw at us. All right, no one's going to accept them as owners of Chelsea Football Club. It's as simple as that. And they can go their talks to Bruce Buck, whoever they want to go and talk to. As I keep saying, the day this change happens at Chelsea, not only I hope they're not our owners, but I hope Bruce Buck is gone as well from Chelsea once the new owners come in. Because, as I said, this guy is the main reason why the Ricketts are here in the first place. No one else. Yeah, and this guy.
I mean, you have every right to say that. The fact that he arranged a meeting with Paul Carnoville and the Ricketts and sat at the meeting, I don't understand why. And a corporate lawyer that I think it was staff that said maybe he's not good at it. But that's by the way. So DJ, this comment on the screen, I think it's important. We've heard less about Todd Boehly and his consortium and his group. Again, I think you could say the Ricketts are more vocal because they have something to cover. They have grounds to make up in terms of their past. And if you ask me, I'd say it is really working. So, DJ, your thoughts on why the Todd Boehly group, we haven't heard so much about them.
Yeah, I mean, they seem to be a bit of a mystery at the moment. I mean, in the very beginning when this whole process started, I mean, we heard from the Boehly's were coming out because let's be honest, the Boehly's wanted Chelsea since 2019, I do believe, when Roman wasn't selling. They've obviously wanted Chelsea for a long time. And, they've obviously come back now, again. But again, within this whole thing, they're just like, again, they seem to be, I don't know, they seem to be like, I think they're probably seeing what's going on with the Rickett group. Because I think they're the ones, I for one think they're the front runners to get Chelsea, personally, the Boehly's, all right? But, with what the Ricketts are throwing out there, I think they basically want to try and see what Chelsea are going to do. And, I really, really hope, if it comes down to the Ricketts and the Boehly's, I will choose the Boehly's any day of the week over them. They may have less money than the Ricketts because of this backed billionaire that they're backed by 2 billionaires, but he still has a billionaire who's backing him. Maybe not as much or worth as these guys are, but he still has someone who can come in and do something. And from what I understand is, if you look at the way Boehly runs his stuff, his franchise, it's really, really good. His business model is really, really good. And that's the kind of business model I'd like to see at Chelsea. If he's the only owner that's out there to buy us. I mean, I'm still hoping there'll be someone else that could be a mystery buyer out there that might come and get us. But on this point, it's very unlikely. But for me, these are the guys that I'd rather see owning our football club than the Ricketts any day of the week.
Yeah. I think given I think haven't done my research on Marten Broughton's experience. I think I learned quite a lot about him from Pierre. I think to me, I'd say they're the most suitable for us, given their experience. I think he'd do well, but I'm not sure why people don't favor them that much. Why do you think people don't favor the Marten Broughton group?
I think it's because if you look at their backers, who we're talking about here, two of their backers are from Crystal Palace Football Club, aren't they? And they do believe they got a group. They got their own little. I forgot the name of the group. Maybe someone in the comment might remind me. But I know Josh. Is it Josh Harris? I think who's the guy who's been mentioned as one of the candidates to come in with him. Is basically he's got some shares in Crystal Palace. And again, we're talking about we're talking from the Premiership point of view. We're talking about conflict of interest because obviously the interest is coming from, they've got not conflict of interest. They've already got shares within another football team. So they're bringing it now to Chelsea. Unless they completely come out of Crystal Palace and come to Chelsea separately, then it's different. So that's the only reason why I think why he's not been really putting a big thing together. But I do know he's a Chelsea fan. Obviously he's the ex-British British Airways chairman as well. And he also did stuff for Liverpool Football Club as well. I think he was part to play in Liverpool as well when they got the group that are at Liverpool at the moment. The group that's at Liverpool, and I think he helped get that deal through. So I can understand why he's been put himself out there. He's a Chelsea fan as well. Hopefully he might come back with something strong as well. He might have someone that could come strong bid behind him, a backer behind him, and he might be able to come and do some stuff because his way of thinking, because we saw what he did in Liverpool, I think he could do the same with Chelsea as well, and he's a Chelsea fan as well.
Yeah, I think that's my preferred group, but I just don't understand why people don't, why people don't rate them. They don't give them chance. And again, the issue of him having a former, you could say a Tottenham supporter in the group, to them is a big problem. But again, we've learned that the Tottenham guy they have in the group is just for the stadium development. But yeah. I think people have issues with that given our history with, Tottenham. But that's, by the way, any thoughts from you, Tobago, or should I just go ahead?
About this comment?
No, what we've talked about regarding the Marten Broughton group, to me, that's my preferred choice, but people don't rate them highly. I don't know why. Yeah, go ahead.
The problem I have, DJ just mentioned it. They already have two guys there have shares with Crystal Palace. So how quickly will those guys sell those shares and then invest that money into Chelsea? That's my issue. But I don't have an issue by them being our owners.
I think that may well be their biggest obstacle, how quickly they can get rid of that is their shares. But that is another club that they co-own. But that's, by the way, didn't Roman son want Lukaku? I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure who wanted him. You cannot blame Scout. Yeah, he says you can't blame Scout on Lukaku signed Tobago if Roma own kid wanted him, or even if Roman himself wanted him. But then again, there are all signs lead to that Scout not being the one that recommended Lukaku. Simon Phillips don't like Ricketts. He reports news. But so here's the thing. For instance, there are some behavior here. For instance, in America here, there are some things you do, and the media wouldn't help you by calling your name alone. They'll stop calling. They won't use your name. They will be referring to you as the perpetrator. At this point, I think subconsciously, or maybe we don't know it, but we're being distracted, and it's working. Now, only a few people are still talking. That is less and less people are talking about their past. More and more people are talking about their stadium plans, talking about the 8-point pledge or promises, if you like. So to me, I think, I'm not saying he's a bad person. I'm saying I think we should be smarter. We should play it smart. Maybe report about it just once and not talk about it too much. And then we have to keep pushing. If we really want these guys not to get a chance to become new owners of Chelsea Football Club, we shouldn't be, talk about it, and boom, they put out some statement out, and then we'll turn around, shift our focus to that thing. That is how many? Tell me how much. We haven't pushed that much. The No to Ricketts campaign has subsided a bit since yesterday, and that's a fact. So that's where I'm really concerned. I think Duffy and Goofy joined the board. Okay. Good morning from Ghana. Good morning to you too, ACN. Nice to see you here. And Gabriel Kubina, ACN.
Sorry.
Is there any finalist now? The manager who is leading the bid. There's no way to tell who's really leading the bid right now, which is speculating. Or everybody in the final phase has a chance. That's the truth, whether we like it or not. DJ, your thoughts? The fact that everybody in the final phase has a chance.
Yeah, you would like to think so, but it seems like our so-called Mr. Buck, it seems to be pushing and pushing and pushing the Ricketts. And again, it's got to come down to, obviously the final bidders have got to come down with a great plan of what they've got planned for Chelsea. I like to think that the protest against the Ricketts will be more than enough, and what the fans want to make sure they're nowhere near. Even though they're on that list, they're nowhere going to be the ones that are going to be accepted. And I like to think that the other two groups that we've mentioned of Sir Marten Broughton and also the Todd Boehly group are the two that are going to be the two that most Chelsea fans want ahead of those guys. Again, the only one, as I said, the only way this is going to happen, as I said, is obviously we have started this protest. As I said, I wasn't part of it on Saturday. But I have been saying my parts. I do my parts on writing to the Chelsea Trust and all that, saying how much I don't want the Ricketts anywhere near Chelsea. I'll obviously try and go to another, if I can try and go to another protest when it does happen. But in terms of the actual final groups, I really hope that they are not going to be the ones that are selected. And I do believe, and I said it yesterday, I don't think they're going to be successful. I really don't think they will. I think it's going to be between it's going to be between Boehly and Broughton are the two that are going to be taking. Are they going to get eventually going to get their hands on Chelsea?
Yeah,
let's have a question for DJ.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I have a question for DJ, sir.
Go for it, Tobago. Big up, bro.
Big up, bro. Even me, I don't want the Ricketts family.
Yeah.
But I have a question. If those guys manage to own our club and then they do the right things, will you still believe in them?
You know what? I'll never believe in them. I will never believe in them because I personally don't like them and I don't want them. It won't stop me from supporting my football club. I know a lot of fans have asked that next question. Look, I've been a Chelsea fan since the 80s. I've followed them through the bad times. I've been through the first when I followed them back in the days of the 80s, 70s, of the early 80s and late 80s when Chelsea had the racism around them back then. And I've supported. I've seen my team get relegated. I've seen them get relegated, come back up again. I'm never going to stop supporting Chelsea, even though we've got idiots that are owning us. Just always remember, it's not the owners you support; it's the badge that our players wear every day. It's the crest that they wear, and that is what you follow in terms of supporting your team. But the Ricketts, I'll never want them. Even if they're there, I'll have to, as normal Chelsea fans, eventually. We'll have to get people are going to get. We'll have to get to the stage where if they become owners, it gets to where people say we have to get used to that. I'll never get used to them being our owners because I don't want them at all. And will it stop me from buying merchandising? People are asking that question again. Again, you keep asking that question of will it stop? Personally, if it's a shirt you're wearing and the team you support and the badge that they have on the crest that they wear, that's the crest that I've had since going. That old crest was back in the 80s and early was back in the 80s. That crest that we have on us now. Obviously, it changed through marketing. It changed over the years, and they brought the old crest back. So that crest for me will still be the thing that I look at, and generally my team in general. So the Ricketts, forget them, but my team I won't stop supporting.
Yeah, let me just add to that. The fact is, people deal with things differently, and some people, for personal reasons, policy or however you want to see it, have made it clear that they're going to stop supporting Chelsea Football Club. Should that happen again, that's them. And to me, I say I'm never going to stop supporting Chelsea, no matter who becomes the new owners of Chelsea Football Club, except if obviously Ku Klux Klan as a group comes like as a consortium, and anybody agrees to sell it to Ku Klux Klan, then definitely I'll stop supporting Chelsea. And here's my argument. I used an analogy that if you live in a house and a snake runs into your house, you don't run out of your house and leave the house for the snake. The best thing to do.
What a thing! Excellent. Yeah, it's true.
Yes, it's an African saying. Thank you for that.
Yeah, bro.
The best thing to do is to find a way, get rid of the snake. And and the truth remains, and I'm still hopeful it won't happen. If the Ricketts should they emerge the owners of Chelsea Football Club today, there will be a way to get them out. There are things you can do to get them out. And I think it's too much of a risk for the club to take. Marina will know that. It's simply Bruce Buck. I can't trust him at this point. Petr Cech will know that.
Yeah.
Some sponsors, again, this is like 1,000 times on this show, will distance themselves from Chelsea Football Club. Because the fact is, they insulted Asian people too. And I don't want to start talking about that because it would lead to me talking about their political affiliation, which I don't want to do on this show. But that is, by the way, I think that's a comment. I don't know if I highlighted it. I wanted to talk about this one here. And first, again, I want to say thank you for Sasuke Uchiha. I got the first super chat from you the other day for $50. That's a huge for me, and I will never forget that. But again, I want to let you know, bro, I will always read your comments, and you don't have to donate all the time. But thank you. I appreciate that. Now, this comment here, let's talk about the John Terry group. Did I want to ask you, being factual here, being honest, do you think he's doing that for that is a selfish reasons, or do you think he really wants to be there, to represent the fans? To me, if you ask me, I'd say it's business. No matter how you see it, first of all, it's business because they're going to pay some money, to get that 10%. Yeah. So how do you see it?
No, I don't think it's anything by John. Look, John Terry's, he's again another one who's had his misdemeanors back in the day. We all know what that is, and I think no one really. And I know people. I for one don't like it, and I don't abide by it. Or that's one of the reasons probably why it put me off him, even though he's our captain, leader, and legend for his misdemeanors in the past. But look, the guy is Chelsea through and through. This is the one thing I'll say about John Terry. The guy, he's come through the ranks. Okay, he's a Chelsea boy. I for one don't think it's anything to do with that. I think he genuinely is genuine about what he wants to do, and he obviously mentioned about selling the merchandise and what did he come out and say? It was to do with all the stuff that Chelsea have sell old history stuff or whatever it was or something like that. He mentioned or something when he first was mentioned about buying the stake at Chelsea or something like that. I believe I believe he is genuine. I don't think he's got any fakeness with this, but again, this group that he's talking about, again, no one knows of them. I mean, I know it's made up of another Chelsea. I think it's Ratcliffe. I think who used to be back with us back in. I think she's part of it as well, a part of this whole thing. But again, is it going to be enough to take Chelsea to the next to where we want to be, where we are now? Will it be enough to take us to the next? I don't think it will be. So again, yes. He might want to get a stake in Chelsea. He wants to be part of the stakeholder, but yeah, he obviously won't be able to have. He won't be able to afford to have to run the football club as he thinks he would do, without obviously the huge backing. So I probably would say, yes, genuine, but an opportunity for him to get the actual ownership of it. No, 100% no.
Yeah, again, that brings to mind the next topic I want to talk about. Again, we don't know the makeup of that group.
Yeah.
And they say there's, it is staff here that says, Terry said good talks with 2 bidders. Again, who are those he's talking with?
That's it. Yeah.
Because if they really, that's why I'm asking, if they really want to be, let's own 10% of, of the club, and if they see an opportunity with the Ricketts, do you think he'd talk with them?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah, because we don't know who he's talking with. Do you think he's talking with the Ricketts too? Should they emerge the new owners? And if that's the case, and we found out that, that the Ricketts are the new owners of Chelsea Football Club, and John Terry bought 10% of it, what does that tell you?
What that tells me is, as we know, John Terry's misdemeanors back in the day, that just tells me he's no better than they are, to be honest with you, if that was the case. And look, I don't want to turn on him. He's John Terry. He's, as I keep saying, captain, legend, and leader. But we also know he has got issues and backgrounds that he's got with him as well. Baggage that he has from previous issues that he's had with the Ferdinands, for example. So in that kind of situation, I for one would not. I would certainly not want that. Again, he'll be no different to the Ricketts in terms of that. In terms of racism wise, and I don't want to use that term because he's obviously been that in the past. So no, I don't think it'll be a good match at all. And if he's going to be one of those, then I don't know what to say on that one, mate. I think it will. Let's put it this way: it won't look good on John Terry. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, because the fact remains, we know they're talking to them. We don't know who they're talking to. And that brings me to this question. John Terry did come out and say some good stuff about Roman, yeah, didn't he?
He did.
He did, right?
Yeah.
Now, has he said anything about the racism role?
I've not heard or read anything about that, no.
Okay, that brings me to the next question that I wanted to ask now. The question is this. First, let's start by answering this question. How many former Chelsea players have come out and said, except one, that's Paul Canoville, right?
Yeah.
The most obvious. How many former Chelsea players have come out and said, we don't think these guys will be good for our club? How many? Please help me.
I'll be honest with you. I've not heard many. But then, as I said, I'm as much as I'm up to date with all the news and stuff, I've not heard anything come out from any other player regarding it. I'm sure they'll have their take on it at some point, but when that will be, I don't know. Maybe they're probably thinking that Chelsea are not going to get the Ricketts as owners. Maybe those players out there thinking that, former players. I don't know. But I don't know. I know any other player.
Yeah, it is something that we should take seriously.
Yeah.
Believe me, it is something that we should take seriously, that no former Chelsea player, even those that, even if they say anything, it will not affect their status at the club to any measure. Some of them are outside the country. Some of them doesn't work for the club. At least those that work for the club, I think you can say it's a risk. But even Thomas Tuchel, do you hear what he said when he was asked something about that? So it is concerning that not many former Chelsea players are saying, okay, I stand with the fans. It's a Paul Canoville. Who else? Let me know if there's someone else. Tobago, you wanted to say something?
Coachila.
Yeah. I can hear you. You wanted to say something.
The only person I know who talked about it was Gary Neville. He said football is about defense. So if defense doesn't want the Ricketts family, I think the Premier League should do something about it.
Yeah, I mean, this is really, it's really annoying and it's pissing me off, believe me. Even in the case of Roman, it was only, John Terry did say something and only went back and forth with some MP or so regarding the treatment of Roman and the club. It was only Rio Ferdinand that said he was defending Chelsea like he was a former Chelsea player, actually.
And Jimmy Ford has
the point is, this note to the Ricketts issue, it is actually shameful. Yeah. It is concerning. The former Chelsea players are not saying much. And that brings to the question, listen, I'm not by any means accusing John Terry of anything.
Yeah.
I'm really thinking now, okay, he's spoken to a few of the potential new owners. Who are they? Does that include the Ricketts? Because he hasn't come out and say, no, we don't want the Ricketts. There are something, if you really love the club, there's something you should come out and say, I'm against this. If John Terry loses his Chelsea job today as an academy coach, he can find a job. People would proudly take him because he did something nice by coming out and saying what these guys have done in the past. I don't think they're good for our club. Your thoughts, Phantom?
Okay, so I want to say this, okay? Ironically, I used to be a fan of the Chicago Cubs. Well, this is long before the Ricketts came along. In the chat box, I also wrote that Putney Bridge is only one subway or tube stop away from Fulham Broadway, where the Chelsea play. So I'm more than willing and ready to go to Fulham, and I don't want to go to Arsenal or Tottenham or any of the other teams that are in the Premier League at the top, just because it would feel kind of disloyal. But I don't find with Fulham kind of being in the Championship most of the time, I don't see a real big conflict. And when they are in the Premier League, I'm going to root for them over Chelsea. Because I do sports betting, sometimes I will root for Chelsea. But
okay, just help me with the question, sure. Phantom. Are you concerned the fact that we haven't heard much about former Chelsea players? Because I don't know how anybody can convince me that they have good enough reason not to speak up.
I think that a lot of people don't want to burn any bridges, and that's the reason why. Because in case Ricketts,
then if you don't want to, can I say this, please? If you're a Chelsea hero, perceived as a Chelsea hero, and you don't want to burn bridges, and look at it. DJ was the one that let us know the other day. We're still paying. Chelsea Football Club are still paying for the past racial issues we've had at the club till date. And if you've been following Chelsea stories of late, it comes up every now and then. And now these guys are trying to take over the club, and somebody that calls himself, whoever that person is, will have a lot of them. A Chelsea hero, you cannot burn the bridge because you're afraid possibly these guys could take over Chelsea Football Club and not hire me, and then I will not have a good then you don't deserve to be a Chelsea legend or a Chelsea hero, however you want to phrase it, but you go ahead.
Well, that's from your opinion, but maybe he just cares more about becoming. Ultimately, John Terry's goal is to become the manager of Chelsea at some point in the future after Tuchel leaves, and especially now that Tuchel's wife is divorcing him, that he might be more apt to go back to the Bundesliga, because at least he could be closer to his children, et cetera, because I doubt that Sissy Tuchel is going to want to live in England after she divorces Thomas, right? So that might lead Tuchel to want to go back to the Bundesliga to be closer to his children. I don't know. But at this point, it's like this, okay? I don't bluff, just like Vladimir Putin doesn't bluff. When I say if they hire Ricketts, if Ricketts win the ownership, I will not be a Chelsea fan. I will. The shirt I'm wearing, I love it. It fits. It's beautiful on me, but I will never wear it again.
We have established that, and you have every right to deal with the situation however you want. Should it happen?
Like I said, it doesn't affect my friendship with you. I'll still come on as a rival fan.
That's not a problem. We know that. We know that, brother. We know that. But tell me now. You're saying it's not a concern to you that the former Chelsea players aren't speaking it up enough?
Well, look at what happened with Matisse's, protest. Only 200 people showed up, is what I was told. From the images, it didn't look like more than 300, right? 300.
And that's a good example. Thank you for bringing that up. In the video that Nick Blue sent to me, and then on the newspaper page, I saw Matisse. I saw on Unis Talks Football. Those guys, don't you think to a certain measure, they're also risking stuff? Should the Ricketts take over, they could sue the heck out of them if they get them using the Chelsea crest on their, even though they might not win, they might just, cause them a lot of problems. Those guys took a risk too.
Absolutely.
Why aren't those the so-called Chelsea heroes? They're not doing enough. That's just my point. And you haven't told me whether you think it's okay or not. And I have a poll here. Let me see the poll. I asked, are you concerned about the silence of former Chelsea players on the Ricketts? 64% says yes.
I am not, because I don't worship John Terry. He's something from the historical past.
No, this is not specifically about John Terry.
Mm-hmm.
You get my point.
No, I do get your point. You're saying that these heroes don't have the courage to stand up for their beliefs. But, I mean, if you take a look at it, I was wrong. I thought 30% of the fans were going to quit, but now it looks like more like 3% of the fans are going to quit. And it looks like everybody's just going to the Ricketts have not apologized, but they've said that they're going to promote diversity and they won't promote any racism or whatever. So essentially they said that whatever's past is not going to be the future. And so, you know, I mean, it depends. I mean, if Rudiger and Conte stay, then how is it different than now? You know? But no, I for one am on the principle of I don't care if the Ricketts come in and win every single trophy every year. I don't like them. I'm not going to support this team. It's not about winning or losing anymore. It's more about, you know, if you go against, you know, my race, then I can't support you.
All right, I get your point. Okay, let me go. Stav, welcome to the panel. Stav, your thoughts on the current question. Can you please tell us how you feel? Do you think the former Chelsea players are doing enough? Okay, I don't think. Why we wait for Stav? Here we say. So let me read this comment.
No, I'm here.
Okay, go ahead. Can I read? Let me just go through the chat quickly. Rosa Mary Ross says that maybe we should protest outside Downing Street to make a government aware of the fans' opinion, and Ricketts as government have final say on the cell. I don't think the government has a final say. What they do, they have their own set of, should I call it rules, principles, or something that the new owners must meet to be, to go ahead with the transfer of ownership from Roman Abramovich to them. So, and again, the government could care less. I've argued this before for the racist history or Islamophobia history of the Ricketts family. After all, if you look at it, it was the governor that said something about the black people. They referred to black people as you people. It was their father that made the Islamophobia comments in emails. So it will be pretty difficult for the government to even care about what they think. To even care about the racist history or behavior, I think that's not their concern, if you ask me. So, and this, it looks like this is the first time I'm seeing you here. So if you haven't, please do make sure to subscribe to the channel and also like the video so that YouTube can push it to more people. So, Stab, your thoughts on the silence of, you could say, most of the Chelsea heroes or former players?
Well, I don't know what you want them to say. Half of them work for the club, right? Others live abroad, probably don't even know, right? Some of them are playing abroad, right? What do you want them to do? I keep hearing people saying, let's go and protest, let's go and protest. And
they don't have to protest. They don't have to protest. Making a statement is enough, but go ahead.
Right? No, I'm hearing people telling other people, we must protest. Right, and they're not the ones who are going to go and do the protest, right? They're not the ones who are going to do the protest. I keep hearing all this protest stuff. Listen, right? It's not why I came on, right? I tried to do this before and you wouldn't let me, so I'm going to do it now. And if you stop me, there's no relationship left, right? I have to say.
No, stop! You can't be here and be threatening me. Just say what you want to say. You can nobody's stopping you from saying what you want to say, but you cannot be here and be threatening me. There's no relationship left.
Because you'll stop me.
That's not okay. No. You shouldn't be talking like that. That's not okay, Stav.
No, what's not okay is people constantly, right, talking about John Terry's past without
What do people say? What do people say?
His misdemeanors, like DJ just said. DJ, I've got a question for you. Where were you the day his misdemeanor happened?
I was actually when that actually happened. I was actually I was actually there. I was actually watching the match. I was actually watching the match, and the comments came out.
Yeah, right. Well, I'll tell you where I was. Right. I was in Cyprus. Okay. Yeah. It was a 3:00 kickoff, so it couldn't be televised in the UK. Right.
Yeah. Nice. So the advertisement.
Wait, let me finish. Right. I had bought a Sky Sports box because they were still legal abroad then, and they had a Bean Sports box as well. And I watched the game live on Bean Sports, right?
Yeah.
John Terry went in for the challenge, right, with Ferdinand. And Ferdinand, right, and when John Terry turned round to run away, Ferdinand shouted to him, "Did you just call me the you-know-what?"
Yeah.
And John Terry turned round and said, "No, I didn't call you that," right? John Obi Mikel was near there. Ashley Cole was next to him. Ashley Cole went to court, right? In court, John Terry was cleared and Anton Ferdinand was deemed an unreliable witness, right? At that time, John Terry was England captain and Anton Ferdinand wanted his brother to be England captain. The court cleared him, right? It cleared him. He just said, "No, I didn't say that." He got his wrist slapped for repeating the words, and I said, "You shouldn't have repeated the words." But the words originally came from Anton Ferdinand. This is a guy, Anton Ferdinand, who told West Ham Football Club, right, that his grandmother had died and he couldn't come to training or play. And they gave him the time off, and he went to the US with his mates to have a holiday and a party. And West Ham only found out when Rio was giving condolences, and he said, "What for?" And he said, "Your grandmother." And he said, "What about my grandmother?" And he said Anton told him that his grandmother had died. And Rio said, "No, that's not true. Nothing of the sort." Right? And because Anton Ferdinand wanted to, his brother to be England captain, he did that to John Terry. I saw the full footage on Bein Sport. It's clear. Then, come the news on Sky Sports, right? You see the bit from where John Terry says the words. You don't see the part where Anton Ferdinand shouts to him, right, and starts the argument, okay? Ashley Cole went to court with him as a witness, right? What did Rio Ferdinand do? He called Ashley Cole. You can tell people what this means because you live in the UK. He called Ashley Cole a bounty and a coconut, right? You can tell everybody. Don't be giving us all this John Terry's misdemeanors, right? Because you're all sitting here, like, on these channels, going on about the media having agendas, right? And then you take the media's agenda as gospel and attack John Terry.
No. Let me just answer you on that one. I'm not attacking John Terry. I'm not attacking John Terry, Stav. Yeah, I think
you said he's misdemeanors.
Yeah,
Stav, let him come in. Let him come in. You've spoken. Let him come in, and he listened. Let him come in.
I'm not just talking about that misdemeanor. I'm talking about other things he's done in the past. Look, I told you this already, and I've said it already.
You mean the Wayne Bridge thing?
There's that as
well. You mean the Wayne Bridge thing? The only person who has any right to be angry over the Wayne Bridge thing.
I'm just saying. But it goes against. No, I'm just saying it goes against somebody who could be. No, it shouldn't do. But unfortunately, that's how it works. We all know this, Stav, yeah.
Okay, let's establish something here, Stav. You just said the only person that has the right to be mad at that is who?
No, I said the only person who had a right to be angry about the Wayne Bridge thing. The Wayne Bridge thing where John Terry's supposed to have had an affair, right?
Okay, I remember that story, but who's the only person that has the right to be angry?
John Terry's wife, right? She was the only person.
Stan, this is something. Talk about the society.
It wasn't even his wife. It wasn't even his wife.
Stan, can we really talk about it? Although this is not that's not what we're here to talk about. But because now we're talking about it, it does not. I do not agree.
No. Can I just stop it? This is something personal here that is between them. Okay, I'm not even bringing this all. I'm just.
But I don't. The fact that Stav says that the only person that has the right to be angry is. Wenbridge, whose wife? John Terry's wife. That's fine. But the society must always see such behavior from a moral perspective, whether you like it or not. That's the truth.
If the story's true,
yes,
he denied it. He denied it. She denied it, right? And the wife accepted it, right? And then Wenbridge tried to mollycoddle all the poor Wayne Bridge, they weren't even married and they'd been separated for a while.
I think we shouldn't even be talking about that. But Stav, you get my point.
Stop making out that John Terry's some kind of.
Let me just finish, Stav, because I know you're going to come in after. Look, John Terry. I don't know what you think. I've got nothing against John Terry. Yeah, I just want to get this straight out there and put it out there. Yeah. Okay, I've got nothing against him. In fact, I've actually got a shirt with his number at the back of it. Yeah. Okay, he was one of my favourite players at Chelsea. I told you, captain, leader, and legend. Right? Okay, they're the things I've gone by with John Terry. All I'm basing is how the media made it look. And my point I was trying to make across to you, if he was to go and associate with the Ricketts, it's going to make him look bad to already his reputation that he's already got already from people.
And believe me, that's what I understood.
That's what my point was all along, Stav. I wasn't.
But you know what the issue is, DJ? You know what the issue is? I think someone else here before had said something about Stav, and Stav stopped coming on the channel and only wanted to come on the channel because he wanted to address that.
No,
and the moment I saw him, I knew Stav could finish.
Yeah, you're hilarious.
Can I finish? And Stav came on today because the moment you talked about John Terry, and the fact is the way DJ talked about John Terry, I knew what he's referring to, but I knew he wasn't condemning John Terry. But the truth is, it has happened. It will always be there. And the fact is, if he associates with the Ricketts, it will come up again. Whether he was.
I got a question for you.
Can I finish, Stav?
Yeah,
whether he was acquitted of the accusation or not, it will still come up. And am I saying he was guilty of it? No, I never supported what's his name, Ferdinand's brother Dan, because I saw nothing. But the fact is, it has happened, and for a reason, it happened. And the fact is, and I don't think it is right for you. Yeah, it is right. The only person that has a right to be mad, if you want to see it that way, is John Terry's wife.
Correct.
But we must see things from a moral perspective as a society.
What
and also, there's no way, can I finish? There's no way also to tell if it ever happened or not. That's why we have to reference to it with a certain measure, Go ahead,
That's right. That's right. The story was in a newspaper, right, where the editor, right, tapped a young girl's mobile phone, right, to get information. So you think that they've got high morals, right? If it was true, right, both Wayne Bridges' ex-girlfriend and John Terry denied it. They were mates, and she was upset by the breakup. The media spun it, right, into something it wasn't, right, or it might have been, but nobody knows. But the media that did it have no leg to stand on, because their editor, right, is constantly attacking Chelsea at that time, right? He constantly attacks Chelsea even now, right, from his high pedestal. He's been mentioned on here a few times, right? And he tapped up a dead young girl's, right, mobile phone, right? And he got his reporters to do it. Wait. Why does nobody ever mention that John Terry paid for the Chelsea fans' funeral, right? Because his family couldn't afford to pay for it, and he paid for the fans' funeral. Why does nobody ever mention that John Terry was outside his own house for half an hour waiting for an ambulance to arrive, comforting the crash victim? None of that ever gets mentioned.
Exactly. Right? That's
none
what
of that
I'm
ever
trying
gets
to make.
mentioned. Right?
Exactly.
So that's why I come on, because I want to set the record straight. Right?
Yeah,
and one other thing. Yeah. One other thing. I got one other thing. Right? Yeah. What are you all going to do, right, if you find out that the reason Bruce Buck is pushing the Ricketts is because that's who Roman wants? What are you going to do?
I mean, there's a possibility. You can't do anything. And I've told you I'm not going to stop supporting my club, even if they emerge winners. But I'm still hopeful that will never happen. That's the thing.
You need, while you're all going half-cocked over the top, like getting really angry, it might well be that that's who Roman wants.
That's a possibility. You don't know.
Possibility that could be.
I don't know. So that's
why. Yeah, we don't know. That's why we're even concerned that they got to this phase at all. And that's why it's important we keep saying we don't want them, because it will create divisions in our fan base.
Coachila, he tried to pass the club off, right, to the foundation. They wouldn't let him. He then tried to sell it, right, and they started putting rules on it. They issued a license which is crippling the club, and he had to pump another 30 million in, right? Yeah. So if they're his choice, right, whatever they said isn't going to change my mind and isn't going to make me stop supporting them, right? And if it was Roman's choice, it will come out eventually, right? And that's Roman's club. He paid a fortune for it. He's lost a fortune. And if they're his preferred bidders and he actually trusts what they're saying, the 8-point plan, right, then I'll accept that. If he's not, and they're not his choice, then that's different. But in the meantime, I'm going to calm down. I'm going to stay reserved about the whole issue. And I'm not going to start criticising and flagging people off, right? And I'm certainly not going to flag off.
So are you saying we should start protesting? We should start making our voices heard?
If you want to protest, right? But what I'm saying is there's no point people on social media going on and on, oh, we should protest, when they're not the ones who have to do the protest. Fine. DJ wants to go down and do the protest. That's fine. If Nick Blue wants to go and do the protest, that's fine. But people who are all around the world, right, telling people in the UK, you should go and protest, right? They have lives to get on with as well, right? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think that argument makes perfect sense. I think you don't have to be at the breach to even protest. There are campaigns online. They see it. Actually, I think the most powerful actually is the campaigns online, because the whole thing, even before people went to the stadium to protest, the campaign already, the No to Ricketts family has already started, and it was powerful. It was one of the top searches on Google, top trending, hashtags. So that alone is huge. Coming to your comments on whether Roman wants them, I would still go back to Max's comment yesterday that he doesn't see Roman allowing that to happen because it will tarnish his image. Because no matter how poorly informed he is about this guy's background, I think if that happens, questions will be raised about his love for Chelsea in the first place. Because we don't see anything good. To me, I think to me personally, I don't see anything coming up from this guy. So if you ask me, DJ, your thoughts. Yeah, go ahead.
So if it is his choice, right, I don't have a problem with it because it was his money that kept us alive. We could have been dead 20 years ago. So I don't have an issue with it. If it's Roman's choice, right, that's not an issue for me. And if the Ricketts...
Of course, Sav, I know you don't think those guys will be his choice.
Yeah,
I know you don't believe.
Listen, like, my choice is the Broughtons, right? Why don't people want the Broughtons then?
I didn't say that.
On all these channels, nobody wants the Broughtons. Why? What? Because they're English.
I didn't say that.
You don't trust them. Huh?
I didn't say that.
I didn't say you said that.
No,
DJ.
he didn't say you. He didn't say you, DJ.
Right? You had LGS or whatever his name was on the other day, and he said, "Show me the money." He said, "Show me the money."
Yeah.
Right? He said, "Show me the money." Right? We don't know what their bid is. Right? Okay. We don't know what their bid is. It might be the best one yet. Right? I've already told you, and I sent you a message that the other owner in Crystal Palace is willing to pay 40 million for their shares of the other two, right? And to get their shares down so they can be eligible to come in. And I'm sure that Broughton's got someone else coming in, just like the Ricketts have, right? Yeah. So why are people dismissing them, right? Don't dismiss anybody. Wait and see what happens. Why dismiss them, right?
Agreed.
Why dismiss them?
Agreed.
We're all on these platforms, all going on about the Ricketts being racist and stuff like that. But if people, and I'm not English, right? I'm not English, right? But if people don't want them because they're English, then that's just as bad, right? They should be on the merits of their bid. But if Roman chooses the Ricketts, right, and the Ricketts come up with the 8-point plan, right? They might not, they might do. Then I'm still okay with it because I've just had 20 years, right, of wrapping it all up, having a great time, right, watching us do things I never dreamed of. And DJ goes back to the 80s as well. We never dreamed of any of that, right? And the club is Roman's to sell it to whoever he wants, right? He could have just sold it to them. He didn't have to go and start the bidding process. He could have just sold it to them because they approached him before.
Yeah. I mean, going back to what you just... Sorry, just going back to your 80s comments. Look, I said this all along. When I get annoyed when when rival fans start saying to us that Chelsea were discovered in 2004. Those who don't know the history of Chelsea Football Club, look, yeah, we were never one for winning titles until obviously 1955 was the last one we did. But what we were doing before was we were winning FA Cups, we were winning Cup Winners' Cups, we were winning trophies, but not the big Prem as it was, or the Barclays League Division title as it was known back then as. So when people say Chelsea have no history before Roman, those who don't know, go and look at your history and check that actually Chelsea actually did win things pre-Roman buying our football club. So I just want to put that out there because a lot of fans seem to think Chelsea were discovered in 2004 because of the money. I think people don't. I can say the same thing about Liverpool. Liverpool were discovered in the 1990s. Look how much they used to go and buy players, win titles. I can think of players they used to go and buy: John Barnes, John Aldridge, Mark Walters. Of just 3 players they used to go, and Peter Beardsley, another one, to make their team bigger and better. So they used to go and buy it. So just because Chelsea started doing that and winning trophies, we're getting known as, we were discovered in 2004. People don't know history, man. So I just had to throw that one out there. Sorry.
All right. Before you continue, if you're in the chat, let me know if you want to participate in the draw to get the chance to write a tribute to Roman Abramovich. The final of that competition, I call it, will be, and I haven't found a name for it, but we're picking participants. What you do if you're picked, one of the 10, I think we'll start with an 8. You want to use the structure of football. It's going to be semifinals. It's going to be a final. And if you win, you get $150. You have to write a tribute to Roman Abramovich. And the final will be after the ownership has been handed to the new owners. Then we'll have the final and we'll have a panel. And the speaker will present on video their tribute to Roman Abramovich on the screen. So let me know if you're in the chat. Let me know if you want to participate. I don't think we have enough people here right now. Then I'll do the draw and get one participant today. I'll just leave it for tomorrow. Sav, I'm going to come to you with something I haven't asked you today. I get your point. There's a chance that Roman his preference may be the Ricketts. You don't know. So why did they even make it to this phase? You never can tell. The question is, do you think the Ricketts are really playing the game well in terms of they've put out the 8-point pledge? Now today they're talking about the stadium they want to build. So your thoughts, do you think that's a strategy? Because it looks like the more we read about the stuff they put out, the less we'll talk about their history.
I still prefer the Broughton consortium, right? That's my preference, right? I have issues, with no disrespect, with totally American owners, right? And that goes to Todd Boehly as well, right? I have issues. I don't like this nonsense about using data and all this kind of stuff, right?
That's the Boehly group.
Yeah, right. So I'm not into that. He hasn't actually. What he said was he did mention the stadium. He said he's going to do it slowly, so they'll do it stand by stand, which is how we did the current stadium. We did that stand by stand, right? But if you're going to do it that way, that's fine. But you're going to have reduced income for the amount of time it takes to do the stadium, right? And we're still going to be reliant. And is he willing to, him and his partners, willing to fund the club to cover for the reduced income so we can continue to be competitive? Because we have to be competitive. Because whether we like it or not, to us it's a football club, to the world it's a brand, and that brand has to be competitive, right? If we don't win anything for 2 or 3 years, I'm not bothered, right? Because I want to see people like Gallagher, Ampadu, Gilmore, all these kids come back, right? And I'm quite willing to let Jorginho go if it means Gallagher coming in or Gilmore, right? Because they're reaching the end stage of their top form, right? I know he's only 30, Jorginho, but I've said all along he doesn't suit the English Premier League, right? And we haven't even got close to winning the English Premier League, right? With him in the team and others in the team, right? So I'm all right with bringing the kids in, let them develop, right? Let them play together, let them get an understanding, and let build the chemistry, all these things that you keep coming out with. Doesn't bother me if I have to go 2 or 3 years without winning something, but all I keep hearing and reading, right, and these
And
groups,
stop,
right,
if you get me right, I haven't
is
at
success.
any time
I'm not on
feared
about
that
you. I'm not on
okay,
about you. Not on
okay.
about you. What I'm saying is that all I keep reading and hearing from people, right, involved in these groups, right, in the live chat or whatever. Oh, but we've got to keep winning. We have to win this. We have to win. I don't care. I don't care. Roman has surpassed any dreams I ever had going back to the 70s and 80s. So if I have to be patient for 2 or 3 years, that's fine by me, right? But people need to get a grip that we don't have a divine right to win something every season. And basically, we have. Basically, we've won something nearly every year, right? And that's fine by me. That's enough for me. And if we have to wait 2 or 3 years, we have to watch these young kids develop. And there's other kids as well, right? Like the ones who played last night. There was 4 or 5 really good ones in the FA Youth Club last night, right? Charlie, whatever his name is, Vale, all these kids, right, coming through. But there's enough there, right? And if the Ricketts do get it, I have to move on from whatever they did in the past, as long as they look after the club. And they're not. We're just making an assumption now that it's some kind of game they're playing. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. No one's ever going to know, right, unless it happens. And I'm not saying it's going to happen, right? It could, and maybe it won't. But whatever happens, I'm still going to wear the same shirts. I'm still going to have the same badge on my chest, right? I'm still going to go to bed at night, right, supporting the same team and wake up the next morning supporting the same team. I'm still going to be getting pushed around in my wheelchair with my Chelsea badges on my wheelchair. Nothing's going to change. I ain't going to Fulham. I ain't going to Real Madrid. I ain't going to Barcelona just because maybe Rudiger or someone will go there, or Juventus, right? Chelsea Football Club. 52 years of my life. I'm 60, right? Since the age of 8, I've been Chelsea. And that's not changing, no matter who the owner is. I don't support the owner. I love Roman, right? I love him and everything he's done for us. But yeah, but I support the club and the team that that crosses that white line and goes on the pitch. Even if I don't like it, even if I don't like all the players or I don't rate them all, as soon as they cross that white line, you have to shout for them. You have to support them. That's who you support. Chelsea Football Club, founded in 1905 in the Butcher's Hut pub across the road from Stamford Bridge. Right? It's not been founded in 2022, right, by whoever the new owner becomes. Right? It was founded even before Bates came along. We had one family, the Mears family, from day one until Bates bought the club, right? Some of them were good, the older guys. And then as the younger ones started coming in, things started going down. And the reason was because we rushed into something to build a stand and redo the stadium in the 70s, right? And we were Britain was hit by a recession and the cost trebled. And that's why we ended up in trouble. And I'll always be grateful to Roman. I'll always respect him. I'll always love him. Right? Same with Bates, even though he's a QPR fan. Right? But I support Chelsea Football Club, not an owner, not a manager.
Yeah, and again, I've used an analogy, and I don't want to go through that again. I think we've talked about it even at length on several shows. That's a way to get rid of them if they ever emerge as the winner. But our confidence, we've always been confident that we don't see them emerging as the new owners for obvious reasons. And then stuff again now just brings fear to the surface again by letting me know what if Roman prefers them. But again, I had to go back to Max's comment that he doesn't think so. He doesn't, because he will tarnish his legacy. Again, that's me. DJ, you wanted to say something?
No, I mean everything Stabs just said there in terms of you don't support the owners of the football club, you support the club, and that's how I look at it. That crest that they wear, the badge that they wear, that's what you support. You support the club. That's what Chelsea fans and all other rival fans out there live for when they're supporting their football club. I don't think any of them really care about the owners. In that way, yes, we all love Roman. I'm not going to sit here and lie. I didn't love Roman. I like Ken Bates as well, even though he was very controversial in his ways. But it was good controversy that he used to bring sometimes. I think the best thing he ever could do was he banned the press from attending press conferences. I remember that, attending all football grounds. I remember times when we were not, Chelsea were not allowed to have games watched on TV. I don't know if Stav would remember that back in the day. Yeah, but Ken Bates did a lot, and then he obviously followed it. And then he started, obviously after saving us, people were saying, and then he started, bringing in all these world players after that. He brought in some good managers as well, Glenn Hoddle being one of them. Ruud Gullit, Gianluca Vialli amongst them. Players like that. We had very good players during his time, and then obviously Roman came in. We still won things, as I said, and then Roman came in, and we saw our success go even further. But what my thing of it always is, you support your club from the very beginning, regardless of who the owners are. And that's what my debate has always been along. It doesn't matter who the owners are. I'll never support the Ricketts. I don't like the Ricketts for what they've done in their back for their misdemeanors background. But I don't support them. It's the club I support and the players I support and the manager.
Yeah, again, you make a good argument. Go ahead, Stav.
Right. I don't know if this applies to DJ as well. Right. In the 80s, right?
Yeah.
We were banned lots of times.
Yes.
From going to away games and that, right?
We were, yeah.
And I didn't bust my backside to go and find tickets whilst I'm being banned, right? To get into games, right? Sunderland, Luton Town twice, right? All these places, right? And then to just suddenly start supporting another club because I don't like an owner or because one of my favourite players has gone, right? I was gutted when Jose went, right? But I still carried on supporting Chelsea.
Yeah.
Still carried on supporting Chelsea, right? First time round. So nothing's going to change. And either the club means something to you or it doesn't. And if it doesn't, fine, change clubs. Instead of wearing it as a fashion accessory, just move on. Go and find yourself another club.
That's spot on, mate. I agree 100%, Stav. I mean, and it's funny because I've seen some fans out there saying, they'll stop supporting the club because of the owners that are coming in. I've said it all along. I don't want these owners at the football club. I think every Chelsea fan doesn't want them. But as we said it already along the lines, you don't support the owners, you support your club. And we've gone through some very, very tough times as Chelsea fans. We see. I think you probably will remember when we got relegated back in the days and we came back up. I mean, I was part of when I started supporting Chelsea. We got relegated twice and we came back up into the big time. We were
taking thousands away in the second division.
Yes,
7,000 there, 9,000 there. 10,000, 9,000 at Leicester the day of the Hillsborough disaster.
Yes.
10,000 to Man City.
Yeah.
Right. 8,000 at West Brom. All these places we were taking thousands in the second division.
Yeah.
I'm not changing my team now.
No, exactly. And I said the same. I mean, when I started supporting Chelsea, Stav, John Hollins was our manager. Remember John Hollins? He was our manager back in the day. Eddie Netzvicki was in goal. You had Doug Roovey, Joe McLaughlin, Pat Nevin, Gordon Jury, David Speedy. I can names Kerry Dixon. I can go on Colin Pates. These guys back in the day, that's when I started supporting Chelsea.
Staff, can you guys just give me a minute to quickly do the draw to pick one participant today? I think it's going to be 8 participants. It's going to be the format of football. And I think I will be doing one participant from, that is, we don't get 2 participants from one country, but I'll think about that later. But I'll start picking. Let's pick today's, and then I will talk about the rules tomorrow. And you get a chance to win $150 if you emerge as the winner. What you do is write a tribute to Roman Abramovich. We'll set it in a way that the finals will be, that is a day or a few days after the club is handed over to new owners. But we'll start picking participants today. Again, what you will type is Roman tribute. Each word starts with a capital letter. So let's go ahead and do that. Then I can come back to you guys so we can call it a day. I have to take my boys to school. I've typed mine, if you can see it on the screen here. So we're going to pick one participant today. So this is, which one is this here?
Let me get the screen.
I think it's this one build up. No, two Ricketts. This one, okay. So I'm going to do the draw. Let me know if you guys are ready. If anybody wants to participate from the panel, you're welcome to. But one rule should be clear here. To participate, you have to show your face. You have to see your face. You have to watch your expressions as you present your tribute to Roman. So I'm going to run it now and see what the participant will get today. Start collecting. We have just 5 people. Okay, draw. You want anybody on the panel wanted to join? I can redraw. Okay, TC is a first participant. Just you all, please do take the note for me. Let me write it somewhere too. There's also a chance for you to. Okay, I won't forget. I know just you all, even the video is here to help me, and it's towards the end. So, any final thoughts from you, DJ, on the topic of today? Or Stav, do you want anything else? Do you have anything else you want to say, or do you want to just punch me and be happy?
No. I want to say something, right? I don't know where DJ lives. I'm assuming it's West London somewhere. Right? I used to coach a team in the Hazen District Youth League, right? Which is a league Les Ferdinand played in, right? And I became good friends with Clive Wilson.
Clive Wilson. Yeah, I remember Clive Wilson.
Yeah. He was good friends of mine. He used to get me tickets for away games and stuff, right? And I met Les Ferdinand through him because they come to do presentations of the team I coached, right? Yeah. And he's a smarmy bastard, right? Les Ferdinand is a smarmy bastard, right? So don't get me wrong, right? I had a good banter with him, but he's a smarmy get. He's a typical I made it big football, and that's what all the Ferdinands are like, right? Yeah. If JT was a racist, do you think Makaleli, right, and all these players, like the black players, would have celebrated Champions Leagues and league championships with him and hugging him and everything? Drogba, right? Yeah. It's a nonsense. They saw an opportunity to get him kicked out as a England captain so that Rio Ferdinand could get the job. And in the end, Steven Gerrard got it, and they didn't like it. They didn't like that Gerrard got it either, right? JT is no racist, right?
And here's the thing I'd do, Stav. You know what you do? If I was JT, I'd sue the heck of those guys. So long as I've been proven not guilty, I've been acquitted.
Well, listen.
Because it's a serious accusation.
Yeah. Listen, one last thing, right? Even the FA backed him. The FA backed him, right? They didn't strip him of the captaincy. And then MPs in Parliament started getting involved and complaining. And that's why
what's his name? The Italian coach, English coach then, that was coaching the English team then wouldn't even listen.
Yeah.
I think he was
what's his name? Is it Fabio Capello?
Yeah, Capello. He wouldn't even listen. Yeah, and he made a public statement, I think. But the fact is, I'm not saying by any means I loved JT even after the incidents, because there's no way to prove he did anything like that, and he was acquitted. So again, and when DJ mentioned him, it wasn't because he's saying he is, because he knows that kind of thing is difficult. Even though you've been acquitted of it, it's difficult for it to be an issue.
It's not so much about DJ, right? It's I just wanted people to realise how nasty the British media can be and how they can try to destroy somebody, right? JT is one of those players who'll stop and talk to you, sign things for you, right? Yeah. He won't walk away from you, right? He will talk. I've spoken to him loads of times. Clive Wilson, right? When I knew him, he used to take me into the players' bar, right? Yeah. Well, I used to, when he was playing for Tottenham and QPR, Kerry Dixon used to take me in the players' bar.
Yeah, I remember. Kerry Dixon. I've spoken to Kerry Dixon.
He knew I knew him. Yeah. He knew I knew Clive. He knew I knew Clive. And Kerry used to take me in the players' bar, right? And you'd see all those players in there. Right?
Can I ask you this? I know. I just want to ask in front of DJ. DJ, I mean no disrespect. DJ qualifies for the old school show, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course he does.
So if he qualifies, that's good. Then we have you guys will have some fun there. So, but I think we've been streaming for. You still saying something, Star? Because we've gone for 3 hours 30 minutes. Okay, yeah, I think, DJ, any final thoughts from you?
Yeah, just one final thing. I just want to point out, Coach, once again, thank you for having me on your show and letting me come on. As always, it's great.
My pleasure. More thanks to you for finding time to join.
And talking to everyone in the comments as well. Big up to you guys all as well. I just want to point out one thing to Stav. I was never ever saying John Terry was that at all. I was just going by as coachila was saying and what I was trying to say. Maybe my explanation came out wrongly. I don't know. I was basically saying when I said misdemeanors, from what people have said about him in the media, it wouldn't look good. I was just saying basically from seeing that of what I know for full Wales. I know I was just basically saying what I've seen and what people are like and how the media kill people. And I know John Terry has been one of them. That's all I was trying to make across earlier on. Yeah. Nothing against John Terry at all, because as I said, I do have a shirt with his name at the back of my So I would never. So I have, if anything, I have the utmost respect for him. He's one of my favorite all-time players as well. So
he's. I think there will be no other captain like John Terry ever. Again, I want to say to TC, here's the rule: you must show your face on camera, but you have a chance to get someone else to represent you. If you're not able to show it, because the judges need to watch your expression. They need to watch your delivery of the tribute. That's important. Exactly. So to participate in that show, in that competition, I think we'll start with an 8. We're going to use the format of football, quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals. Maybe if I decide we could do third place, but the structure, it will take on the structure of football. And again, you have to show your face on camera, but if you can't, you can get someone to represent you. That's fine. And again, with that, I want to say thank you to everybody in the chat. It's been a great show. Nothing comes across personal to me. That's who I am. I just try to make sure that we'll, debate peacefully. We have a civilized debate or a civilized argument because we're all smart people. The thing is that we'll almost always see things differently. So thank you to everybody in the chat, from all the queens of the house that were present today, Just Viola, and also TC herself. Congratulations to you. I look forward to seeing you present your tribute to Roman Abramovich, and to everyone else. Phantom of Many Topics was also in the chat. Every other person that was here but have left, I appreciate you. You guys provide great value to the chat, and I hope to see you guys tomorrow for another Blue Money show. And for the panel, DJ Stav, thank you very much for finding time to join. And Stav, thank you very much for finding time to join. And I am happy when you joined. You couldn't reach me from your screen to punch me in the face. I knew you'd do that if you can. But good thing you can't reach me, Stav. But I still love you. That's, by the way, without I say goodbye and see you guys tomorrow. God bless us all.
Take care. Up the Chelsea. Peace, everyone.
Up the Chelsea. Yeah.